9 a.m. I'd like for you all to stand for invocation.
I'd like to ask you to bow with me, if you would, at this time. Father, we just come to you as always, thanking you so much for being our God and guiding us and directing us, Lord, in the things that we do here in Meriwether County. And Lord, as always, just continue to give us that is needed. And Father, we'll just give you the glory, the honor, the praise for it all. In Christ Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome everyone this morning. The first thing is to adopt the agenda as presented, unless from our county administrator, is there anything that we need to add additionally onto this?
Okay.
Thank you. All right, at this time, I'd like to get a motion that we adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second? Okay, there's a motion by Commissioner Bray and second by Commissioner Threadgill to accept the agenda as presented. I'd like to ask for a vote. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is to adopt the minutes for the October 22nd regular meeting that was scheduled at 6 p.m. Hopefully all of you had the opportunity to read the minutes. I'd like to get a motion that we accept those minutes as presented unless there's some changes that needs to be made.
So moved.
All right, is there a second? Second. There was a motion by Commissioner Threadgill and second by Commissioner Bray that we accept the October 22nd regular meeting. I'd like to call for a vote. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. The next item of minutes to adopt is October the 29th. It was a special call meeting at 6 p.m. Once again, hopefully everyone's had a chance to read those minutes. And if there's no correction, I'd like to ask for a vote. For a motion, I'm sorry.
So moved.
Is there a second? There was a motion by Commissioner McCoy and second by Commissioner Bray and by Commissioner Bray. I think I heard hers first. All right. At this time, I'd like to ask for a vote. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Moving down on the agenda, the next item is municipal comments. So anyone from our municipal cities, at this time you have an opportunity to speak. Mayor Glover says it's just too cold to say it. I don't think I see anyone else from any other municipality. So thank you for being here. Moving on, our Constitution officers, any comments? And I don't recognize anyone from our Constitution officers, so thank you. Moving further down on the agenda is department heads' comments.
This time, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you.
I want to tell everybody thank you for coming out this past weekend for our fall festival and barbecue that we done. We sold 51 plates of barbecue. Had a real good time. Our people came together. We also had 3 adoptions on Saturday during the fall festival. We're looking at doing a lot of new stuff at the shelter. More new beds for dogs. We're going to do some new gates on the kennels. We're going to provide some kennels at one space. So we're looking at doing a lot of stuff. Everybody come out and see what's going on. I'll get you now.
On that, I want to just make a comment. We got approval from nonprofit to get prices on extended kennels above the large kennels to make them small, so that we can put smaller animals in there and have a drainage system too. So we got approval from them to move forward.
Thank you.
Y'all gonna see Commissioner Threadgill over there doing some manual labor.
I can deal.
Okay. Kathy?
No, I always have paperwork. Is that everything there? Are those extra copies the same? You'll take one from the top and one from the bottom, please. Good morning, everyone. Just a quick rundown. The October report is what we're passing out to you now. Shows the valuations of any of the building permits, electrical permits, things like that we took in for the month of October. We're $1,461,829. A little bit down, but I'm still not discouraged. One of our biggest issues is we're running out of land to build homes. We have, most of these that you're going to see on here are going to be private individuals that already own their property and they're building their homes. And we do have some others that are interested in coming in, but at this time, we just don't have inventory available for them to start building on other lots. So I think once we start moving forward with that, we may see some more increases coming up, but I'm not disappointed with $1.5 million. So I want to thank you all for all of your support and everything that you do, and if you have any questions, you can be sure and give me a call or come by the office, and we'll be glad to go over what all's going on in the office at any time with you. And I did graduate yesterday from Georgia Academy, so I got that under my belt, so I'm very proud of that, and I'm going to share the information that I did gain from that with the office. We are a team down there. We all help each other out, so regardless of what our title is, we work together on whatever it is. So the economic development that we want to see from Meriwether County is something that everybody down there can work together on, and we all have meetings on Wednesday, so we will be sharing what was learned in that course and putting it to good use for the betterment of Meriwether County.
Thank you. I just want to elaborate a little bit on that. That is an excellent program. I think Meriwether County has been quite well represented for the past couple of years as having people there to participate. So once again, thank you for taking the time out to do it, and anyone else who's done it in the county, because it's a very eye-opener and very thing that you know what's trending, what's changing, and what direction the state is going in as a whole. So thank you for taking the time to do that.
Department of Community Affairs, of course, is a sponsor of that program, and Karen Thornton, after our graduation ceremony yesterday, she said that brings their total number of graduates up to, I think, 7,000 in the state of Georgia. So it's a program that's been around for a while. I think they're fixing to do some revamping with some new information, but still it was valuable, and I treasure my book and all the information that I got, and I do want to put it to use in our county.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to let me go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Madam Chairman, Board of Commissioners. I'm going to be really brief. The public works are just kind of transitioning out of the summer maintenance phase into winter maintenance phase. The grass mowing is going to stop today or tomorrow. And then we're going to take that crew and transition into going and getting all these trees up on the right of way, trying to get them cut back, chunked back, or hauled off. And transitioning just to getting ditches clean, the leaves out of them, and probably no more scraping unless it's an emergency, things like that. And then unless y'all have any further questions, I'm going to wait till LMIG and the T-Splosh.
You want to just update about the work on the crew that's going to be coming in after the first?
Is that May crew?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're working on the bus. Bus is going to have new lettering put on it next week, and we're getting ready for that, ordering some tools, signs, and things for those crews. Get things ready.
So everything is ready with the state as far as in Harris County with their part of
I'm
it.
going to check with them today. I talked with Corporal Flake yesterday about a few items, but I don't know if we've gotten that signed contract back yet. We'll check in on that today.
Okay. And how are we doing as far as our own staffing? I know we've been short from 5 to 6 people, so where are we?
I think we're 4 short. I'm not 100% accurate on that. I'll check on that as well. Sue was going to get the report out for me today, and she was having an internet problem. I couldn't get any of the other information that I needed to report to you.
I do want to bring to the board's attention and to Theron's attention, it may not be that important to everyone else, but when I get the reports of the road work to read, the way it comes up, it's very hard to read it sometimes in the sense that it skips. Is there a better way that you can put it on an Excel where it's 1 page? Anybody know what I'm referring to? When you open it up,
The other line, one of the
Yeah.
line goes over to another
another
page.
page, and so, and if you print it off, instead of getting 1 page, you may wind up with 7 pages, and there's a big gap in between it. So I think it's more the format in Excel where it could be one on 1 page, kind of like this sheet right here.
I have to say, we'll take a look at it, see
If you don't mind, because once again,
It's just got so many columns, it goes to another page.
Is that road report?
yeah, right, and
That's on the work
maybe.
tickets. Work reports.
Yes.
It's the report that we get to indicate what roads have been worked on, things of that nature, and if you want to print it off, And even when you look at it online, like Commissioner Hatley was saying, it skips columns.
Yeah, well, you have to just keep going to another page. Page 1 may be here, but the rest of page 1 may be after all the pages she's done. You know what I'm saying? You're
Right.
saying,
They bring everything in.
you just have to keep going back and forth to read it.
And it would just make it so much easier when you're looking at what's been done and what areas been done. Just a suggestion.
Need to talk with Brian about.
We'll take a look at it.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you. Does anyone else have any questions for Public Works Superintendent? Chief?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Billing for this month, October is up about 2,500 over last year to 73, a little over 73, 46, 73,000, I'm sorry. That puts our year-to-date at 732,000, we're about 6,000 up last year. I think we were off a little bit last month, and we've been able to rebound, so we're back on track there. 732,000 year-to-date this year, which is about 6,000, above 6,000 last year. We ran 382 calls last month. Only 3 structure fires that's down. We've been looking at quite with that. I'm grateful for that. A bunch of brush fires when they got dry. That was to be expected. 21 car wrecks. I'm still working on the way to try to track the interstate calls separately. We're still trying to figure that out, to be quite honest about it. Want to let you guys know that we have a new admin assistant. I'm not sure if you're aware, but Michelle decided to go to other employment, and so she could be off the school schedule with her grandchildren. And thanks to Brent, we have a new administrative assistant who is just out of the gate doing awesome, doing great, picking up things very quickly, very productive. In many ways going above and beyond. Her name is Devin Hancock, and that was a blessing to us for many reasons. I want to let you know that we're doing our Christmas dinner again this year, first Saturday of December, December 7th at 7 p.m. We're looking forward to that. This will be the first years, in my mind, that the fire department will be there. We had hired, I think, maybe 2 by this time last year, and those 2 that we hired were already part of the family, so this wasn't new to them, other than the fact that they were employed full-time, but now we basically, I'm not going to say we're full staff, but our full crew is here, so it's kind of exciting because it'll be our first Christmas with the new staff, so I'm looking forward to that.
Location.
I'm sorry, thank you. The Greenville High School.
Okay.
And hopefully we've secured that where we'll be in the center of the county from now on and not have to move back and forth. I think we've been doing Woodbury sometimes. A great thanks to the BOE for that, because they've been very, very helpful with that, and it's really probably the only place that a school is about the only place in the whole county that we can get everybody together in one spot.
I'm sorry, what was the time on that again?
7 p.m.
7 p.m., thank you.
And the next thing on my list is, and I'm very proud of this, we were able yesterday to have Standards and Training come in, and we rode around and he inspected the stations, and so our 4 new stations that are occupied are now legally our new fire departments. And for 3 of those, it's not a big change because it doesn't really affect the coverage. For 2, though, it does help, and 1 is for Lucasville because of, and it's not much, but the space the distance that has moved a little to the east means there's a few more homes that'll be in that coverage that we're going to help. And then the biggest of all, which I think you guys are fully aware, is going to be the Odessa Dell, which fills a complete gap that was not filled before, so we can start writing ISO letters to those folks and helping them. I mean, it's a night day, it's at least half on their insurance rate. So for folks who are using ISO, like certain insurance companies do and certain don't, but for the folks that have those companies that do, it's a 50% reduction. So we're really excited about that. Before they really change it across the board, it'll be an ISO audit. They'll come in unannounced one day and inspect us, and then they'll give us credit for it, but we can do it individually on a property by property basis. We can write letters for them and get them that savings down. So that's absolutely huge for those folks out there. Thanks to you guys, this is here. We're going to try to make that as public as possible, get that out to them, because it's absolutely huge. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Once again, thank you for your report. All
extremely busy in the extension office. Brian Brown, our ag agent, he has had 2 programs in the last 2 weeks with UGA specialists coming into the county. We had a beekeeping workshop and a beef production workshop. So hopefully he'll start doing those each month with UGA specialists. In 4-H, I've listened to over 100 presentations from 5th and 6th graders in our school system, so I'm very thankful and excited about our youth in the community. And hopefully those students will want to go on to the district contest. He has a daughter at Mountain View that presented a wonderful project. So if you know 4-H'ers, encourage them. Public speaking, of course, is really adults' biggest fear, but it's certainly a kid's biggest fear to get in front of their peers. So I was very excited that many students got up. We'll be promoting camp. We'll go to camp this summer. And I think that's it. Hopefully y'all saw some of the decorated pumpkins that our students did last month. And we also had, we did the pumpkin growing contest. We had a 4-H'er that grew a pumpkin that was over 300 pounds. It was not the largest in the state. The largest in the state was over 600 pounds. So that pumpkin from Meriwether County was actually a small one in comparison to the largest one. But thank you for your support. And I also graduated from Leadership Meriwether. Commissioner Hines was at our graduation, and that was an exciting opportunity for me as well. So thank you.
I do have one question. Are y'all doing anything, special projects for the Christmas holidays? Are you selling anything or promoting
We
anything?
are not selling anything, but we will have a cookie exchange party at the 4-H office. It's on December 23rd. It's a Monday. I usually have them on Saturdays, but Saturdays in December are very busy for families. So if you want to come to our cookie swap, you're welcome to join us. So that's what we'll be doing. We're also having a coat drive in December, so I encourage our 4-H'ers to bring any donated coats and jackets so that we can donate them to families in need.
Thank you.
I have one comment. I was very involved in 4-H growing up, and a fear I had was having to speak in front of anybody, and I do not consider myself a public speaker, but public speaking is what I chose as one of whatever, one of the things when you had to speak. I was in the 5th grade when I did it the first time, and it went a long way helping me to not be so afraid of having to speak in front of
Oh
people.
yeah, I tell my 4-H'ers, the speech that I gave in my 4th grade 4-H meeting, I gave that exact same speech as a freshman in college on how to show a hog.
Thank you. This year I haven't overlooked anyone. I think we got everybody. Thank you for your comments and just giving us update. Moving further on to the agenda is public hearing. As far as I know, there's no need for a public hearing. And the next item on the agenda is unfinished business. We don't have anything indicated on that. So our next item on the agenda is new business. We've got several things on the new business to discuss. So the first thing is a presentation from Safeville. I understand there's a representative, 2 representatives here. So at this time, Darren, would you like to take the floor? And Kathy, are you also going to present?
I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Madam Chairman, Commissioners, we do have 2 representatives of safety here this morning. As all of you know, for some time, we've been looking at options for building inspections in the county. We currently have 1 inspector. We have 1 vacant inspector position. And we really just wanted to explore all the options, bring those options to you guys to take a look at. And that's one of the reasons we've not filled the vacancy yet. Several counties and municipalities use the Safeville. They do have a good reputation. The counties that I've talked to are very pleased with their work. And I put in a copy of just a draft contract, just to let you guys know and understand what their services are and some of the associated costs. And I do want to say going in, this service, if this is the direction we go, will not negate the need for code enforcement. we still have a need for code enforcement. This time, I'd like to just call on the representatives to speak to you guys and tell them a little bit about the company and what they offer.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, thank you so much for your time this morning. I'm Wade Green. I've been with the company now a little over 10 years, almost 10 years. Don't get too far ahead of ourselves, almost 10 years. I'm actually the Director of Training for the company, but at this time I'm filling the state manager role as we're looking for that to move on. This is Paul Hardy. Paul Hardy is our building official that would be functioning in the space here with Meriwether County. He takes care of Coweta County and several other jurisdictions that are inside of his office. I'll give you a chance to tell you a little bit about yourself.
Yes, I've been with Safe Built 6 years now. Currently the building official for the Tyrone office. As Wade says, we service several Coweta, Peachtree City, Tyrone on the south side here. And it was just a natural fit for us to be able to talk to them. They're here about providing these same services here. We deal with some of the same people. That's what it is.
We've got a little presentation as we go through this. Please don't hesitate if you've got questions. I want to make sure that you get the information that you need. We've got the canned presentation that we're kind of tailor as best as we can, but if there's other questions, please don't hesitate. Okay. So why Safe Built? Well, we've been in business since 1992. We discovered some of our beginning individuals as they came up with the company to decide, hey, we can do this a little better. We can spread some resources between jurisdictions. We can be a little more efficient, and we've kind of grown over the years with that, with some best practices. We've got proven records. One of the proudest things that I can always say when I stand in a group like this, since 1992, we have 95% retention of clients. We're very proud of that. We service our clients very well. We ensure that they're safe. We protect them. All of our individuals are ICC certified. Paul is a master code professional. In our world, is the top of the pinnacle of where we're at. He's certified in all disciplines of the trades, both inspections as well as plan review, and certified building official on top of all of that as well. We've got several others in his office that are close to that. Another master code professional that does plan review inside that office as well that would be a resource for you here. I highlighted here the community core software. That's our software that we utilize to track all of our permitting, where we can look in and see where we're at with that permit. On the application side of things, how long is it taking us to get the plan review done? How long is it for the permit process to be done so we can get that working? And then on our inspections, what's going on with the inspections from footings to certificate of occupancy? What are the timeframes of that? Are there how many deficiencies that come with that? What are we looking at that? What is the pass-fail rate of the inspectors as well as the offices so we can see just where we're at? We want to make sure that we don't, not that this would ever happen, but that we don't have what we call in the business windshield inspections. We want to make sure that we're not taking care of our clients from the back of our cars, so to speak. On the other side of it too, to ensure that we're not got inspectors that are so enthralled with their jobs that we're stopping businesses from working all together. So we're trying to make that balance in that, and that's some of the actual items that we utilize this software for. This would be something that we would bring here that would help stabilize, give you some insight into the business, give you some insight into what, how many buildings were being built, how far they are along, that would be a tax base. Gives you an insight as to just what the inspectors are doing. Where is your money going? We can do this on a weekly basis, we can do it on a monthly basis, quarterly, whatever fits the need for you, then we'll make sure that that happens. But this software is a huge tool that will allow us to provide you that service as well. Any questions here? I'll make sure I'm not putting you to sleep. It's early in the morning. I hope everybody got their coffee. We're ready to go. Okay. So some of the services that we offer. So the beautiful part of bringing in a company like Safe Built, we can adjust the workload to the levels that are actually taking place. In other words, we can bring the resources that are needed to meet that workload. If it spikes, we can bring in more people. If it takes a downturn, which nobody wants, but sometimes it happens, so we can level out that workforce to provide the need that you have here, and we carry the risk with that, so that really helps out with the commission as well as that. We do full service building department. I heard the mention about code compliance. We actually can do we're going to code compliance as well. So we've got those code enforcement officers. We've got a little bit with the arborist and landscape. We can bring that in as well. Inspections, both residential, goes along with the code enforcement as well. If you've got businesses or buildings that need to be done with that. Building department assessment, all myself, we do this across the state and other places in the country as well. We did it for Douglasville, went in and helped them out kind of where their processes were at and cleaned that up for them. They're hitting on all 8 cylinders now, seem to be doing very well. And we're just finishing it up for Macon as well. We'll see how things roll with them as they implement some of the action items that was put into our root cause analysis in their building department as well. We can do plan review both locally as well as electronically. Our software will allow us to be able to do that, track it. We use Bluebeam, so we can save the trees, so to speak. We'll make sure we're not putting all the paper when we do that. And then some other things here. We do fire plan review and disaster response. If you have a flood within the county or if there's a tornado, then we can help you work through those issues with FEMA and make sure that your citizens are taken care of as early as you possibly can. The biggest part with that is just getting ahead of it, frankly, with the paperwork. So delivering to operational excellence. We've been doing this now for 27 years. Over those years, we've built an operation playbook that allows us or gives us the opportunity to have the best practices. We bring them into the jurisdictions that we're servicing, and we can help bring that along. Or sometimes we learn from others as well, and we put that into our operation playbook as well. But we have a monument, so to speak, of how to measure against and to continue for ourselves to get better, and through that allowing the jurisdictions to move along as well. We use a customer service approach. We love to educate out in the field. We love to educate across the counter, ensure people know exactly what the expectation of the code is, and further, what is behind the code, why we would have to do that, what are the unintended consequences if we don't abide by the code. That type of education, so we utilize that. Our Safe Belt Way, we love to talk about that, but the biggest thing is we provide that economic solution. As I said earlier, we can fluctuate with that workload that really helps out with that. Process improvement, we'll talk just a little bit there, but the service delivery, we want to make sure that we customize that implementation for the jurisdiction that we're working with. We never want to come in and go, okay, this is just how we do things. That's not how we function. We want to make sure that it meets the expectations of the jurisdiction that we're working with as well. We work on the state, federal, local codes. We've got several individuals that are on the ICC committees that help drive that code adoption as well, so we're very vetted in that arena as well. What does that all mean here? So if you bring us on, then this would be what we suggest. We start having some annual meetings that would start here at the top with what individuals, I was shy on that, with Marijuana County to meet with the commissioners and the county manager at least once a year. We can do it more often, but at least with that to give you an oversight of where we're at and what we'd like to do in the next year. Hear from you, make sure that we're functioning in the space that you want us to function in, and then monthly and quarterly we meet with the county manager and the director of planning and zoning as well to make sure that they've got all the information that they need. Contractors, where they're at, building permits, some of the KPIs that we watch. How many permits, how many inspections, how many plan review, and inside of that, are we meeting the agreed SLAs as far as the timing to make sure that we're not holding things up. Then finally, on a daily basis, it needs to be, then we work with the planning director and Paul will be involved with that as well, to make sure that we meet the needs. Okay, so everything boils down to this everywhere we go. So this, and you've got a copy of that draft in front of you. This is just finding out some of the prices of what we're talking about. Using this as we walk through with this to make sure that everybody was comfortable. We did the hourly to make sure that you could see exactly what was going on a monthly basis. But inside of that, we'll put a cap on it that this would be the most the county would spend over the next year. So you've got to cut the worst case scenario in front of you, depending on where we find the buildings and how much the building actually takes place. Any questions here?
I have a general question.
Yes, sir.
As I'm trying to digest what you're telling me. You obviously swing a pretty wide loop. You cover more than one area, one county. How do you do that with your inspectors? Do you have assigned inspectors, or do you just use them between the counties?
So it depends on the workload.
Okay.
We've got different jurisdictions where they may have 60 inspections a day. Well, obviously, we've got the individuals that are pretty much assigned there. In other places where they don't have enough for a firm workload, then they'll be split between the jurisdictions to make sure that we balance that workload. That's a great question.
Let's bring it on down just a little bit, Wade. Let's say that you're a builder out there, and you're completely through, your structure's up, you've got the electrical done, the plumbing's done, you need an inspection because drywall's coming tomorrow. What happens at that point? Are you able to supply the folks?
Absolutely, great question. So we help out with the inspection process. If it's called in, if that inspection is called in by 4 o'clock today, we'll be there tomorrow.
Okay, so you need just a day's advance to know.
Absolutely. And as I've been here 10 years, I don't know of an inspection we've missed in 10 years.
I have a question, just to elaborate a little bit on what Commissioner McCoy was saying. So your software will also indicate the process of what's been inspected and where they fall on their inspection list, right? So if they're calling to have drywall and they have not done one phase that needed to be done prior to that, say your electrical needs to be done before you put your drywall on. So your system will have already allocated what has already been done, what's been completed, what is not completed. So prior to going to the next step.
Absolutely.
So will that information be available to the county through your software? Will they be able to know that just as well as you?
Yes, ma'am. So the individual that you've got here, and we've talked with Kathy a little bit about this, they would be administering those permits. So as those scheduling would go through that, then it would pop up, oh, wait a minute, you got to do your rough combination before you be able to get that inspection. So absolutely, you would have some insight into that.
All right, I do have one other question. So in the event that there's a flaw or someone don't do that and you go back through the builder and there's some litigation questioning whether this inspection was done, whether it was signed off, who's held liable for that?
So that would fall with Safeville.
Okay.
We take that on with that. Now, if a builder or contractor has moved farther along than what his inspections level are at, then he's taken some culpability with that as well. So we would work with them to go, well, maybe we need to take some of the drywall off so we can see back in there. Worst case scenario, but we've been in situations where it may need to be that. If you've got a commercial business or if you've got a house that an individual is going to live in for the next 50 years, you want to make sure it's done right. So taking a little bit off would be the way that you would want to go with that. But we would work with the inspectors, and Paul would work with the contractors to get that mitigated.
Madam Chair, I have a question. Currently, we have, if I'm right, 4 employees in that office and 1 vacancy, right? Okay, so how do our current employees work with this? I mean, do we continue to have 4, possibly 5 employees plus this?
What we,
Go ahead.
they would provide all the inspection services, so we would have, our director who would oversee the other aspects, plus over this as well, meeting with them. Our staff would then, when someone come in for a permit, they would collect the fee, add them into the computer in the system you guys have, and then we still gonna need someone for code enforcement.
Yeah, but are we gonna need 4 or 5 people is my
No.
question.
No.
Okay, that's
No,
what,
we would not.
okay.
And I also asked a question about when does the hourly clock start? Because if they're an hour away and they come into an inspection, does that clock start when? I think you guys told me it starts when you get to the inspection site.
So some of your fees have a 2-hour minimum, some don't. Is that just, you didn't put it up there, or those stand by themselves per hour, or do all have 2-hour minimum?
So that, great question. In the plan review and the structural plan review, we don't put a 2-hour minimum on that. If it's something that's quick, that's 30 minutes or 40, we're just going to charge by that. We just don't think that's fair. With the 2-hour minimum on the inspections, because of the drive time in, we have to be on site. Same thing with building officials, so it makes sense, at least a 2-hour minimum first to come down to the end of that level. That's why that minimum.
So those 2-hour minimum, what you just said is it starts from the time you drive in?
From the time we get here.
Okay. But you said the hour drive in.
No, for us we take that on ourselves.
Gotcha.
That hour drive in, we take that in, but in that, at least the 2 hours on the minimum, that you're not gonna have inspections time you do 2, maybe 3 inspections, it's gonna be 2 hours. So that just is good.
And you will plan, just for your own efficiency, when you come in, you'll do the inspections here that are done that day. So it's likely, unless we have one inspection, it's likely you're gonna exceed that 2-hour limit.
Exactly. Yes, ma'am.
All right, in talking with Kathy and evaluating the system that we have right now, how do you think that this system will bring us into the 21st century where we would be able to keep track of things better than what we're doing currently?
That's a great question. I'll speak to our software. I haven't actually looked at how you utilize it. I think that would be the first thing. I want to speak to something that we don't have. With this system, you'll be able to track the number of permits that are done weekly, monthly, be able to track how many inspections, along with whether or not they were passed or failed. Each one of the inspection, along with the plan, you'll be able to track how long it's taken those plan reviews to be done, whether it's 3 days, 5 days, 10 days. How many code deficiencies have taken place with that plan review. In other words, how many comments have gone back and forth with that. All of that can be tracked inside of that. It'll give you reporting measures on that, the pass-fail rate of each inspector. Through that, it'll give you, again, the value of each one of the permits. All the way through, it'll give you everything that you need to drive that business forward. It's a great question, but it's imperative to have that type of information so you know the workload. Because if you don't know how much work is actually out there, it's really difficult to apply the resources that are here.
I see Kathy
If I
has.
may,
Come on, could you step up?
in all fairness, as he said, he has not seen our current software program that we're using, but what we use now is the current CSI, which is the accounting program for the entire county. It is not specifically designed to give us any of the reports that we're needing. What I bring to y'all at the first meeting every month is done completely by hand, and Jacqueline has it set up on Excel spreadsheets. She has to go and pull each and every one of those out. Any inspections that are done, once that original permit is done, there is no follow-up in our computer system now. So anything we've got is strictly the inspection sheet that inspector took out with him and gave to the builder, the owner, the occupant, and brought a copy back. If we want any kind of reporting, we have to go to every single file and come up with this information. It's just not a compatible program that we currently have to give you these reports, as well as help us on the growth of the county. So all of that is going to come into play when we start working more heavily on our planning for what we've got in there with the county. We will have that information with their programs. We do not have it available with our current system. It's not compatible.
So you feel that this will be a great asset for the county as a
Yes,
whole?
ma'am. I mean, it's not just for us. It will be information for you all as well, beyond just what we do on a day-to-day basis as far as issuing a permit, calling for an inspection, collecting a fee. You will know what's going on. You will see how it has played out, where it has played out more specifically throughout the entire county, so you can track that growth in a much better manner.
Well, I have a question. You think this will be a great opportunity for the county? So my question is the great opportunity the software, or is it the services that we will get from them? And if we had the employees that have the certifications and are as qualified, and we were able to get additional software, would that be as good, do you think?
In my opinion, this is going to be a better deal, looking at all the aspects you just mentioned. The current system, we have to hand calculate the cost of every permit, starting with square footage, taking the plans, getting the square footage worked out. We have to convert that into a valuation, and then have to go into the system, and it takes 4 screens, is that correct? Takes a total of 6 screens to input information just to get that permit printed out. So that in and of itself is all contained in their software. Everything's in the background, their databases are set up. It will also keep us more current on pricing. From what we have seen, we have not had pricing to be where it needs to be in 9 to
possibly 10 years. We're way behind what the current building code numbers are as far as what our pricing should be, so that will help. It will give us these reports for planning and for growth information that we can all share. As far as the information on the actual inspectors, we have one inspector in-house now. If he has to call in sick, or he's in training, or he's got vacation, we have no one. In their particular system, they have people that can cover an area if that inspector is on vacation, that inspector is out sick. Currently, where they have inspectors living, there is one in Pike County and one in Grantville. So we've got the north end of the county covered, and we've got the south end of the county covered. Our one inspector, if he's got to cover in one day north to south, it takes him more travel time going back and forth to see and do those inspections, versus if they had that, they might could send one here, one there, they can get it done at half the time. So that's a savings in cost to the county for the truck, the mileage, so on and so forth. They take care of all the training, the qualifications have to be met. They do extensive continuing education, correct?
Yes,
They do continuing education, which is all at the expense of their company. The way they have our pricing set up here with that cap, if we have no inspections today, there's no cost to the county. You're not paying a salary, you're not paying benefits, you're not having to do any of that. It's strictly what we use, and if we do incur up to $150,000 and go over that before that calendar year is out, there's no additional expense to the county.
How much does a inspector make roughly their salary?
Are you talking about from there with the county or as a whole? 16, I believe it's $16.50 an hour,
Okay.
which is well below regular rates.
Can I ask, what is the standard? And then in that, what is their qualification? Because you can be an inspector, but then are you an inspector that meets all 6 levels of inspecting a home? So do our inspector meet that qualification as of yet?
Okay, our current inspector does, but we're talking about one person.
Okay.
They can probably give you a better understanding as far as what the different levels are. As he said, he is a master, as well as they have continuing education to make sure they're up to date. They will also keep up with any of the changes in the code and in legislation, make sure that we're all in, agreement and following the proper protocols on that. Can y'all speak to what a typical salary would be for someone who has a master's qualification coming into a workplace would be?
So the ranges in Georgia and then across the country, it depends if you've got a residential combination inspector. Anything that was residential, that's the levels. You have residential and then commercial and then some. But the standard in the state now is running somewhere between $48,000 and $54,000 for a residential combination inspector. You get into commercial, it starts climbing a little bit more than that. We're benefiting to some degree as far as the employees with some of these gray beards. I'll say that because I got one of them. We've done a poor job as an industry of getting it out that this is a great career, that this is a public service. So there's a lot of individuals that have no idea this is even a career. So I say all that to say, the market has driven itself up simply because of supply and demand. There's just not a lot of inspectors. You'll find when you try to hire one out, it's difficult to find one, and it's even more difficult to find a qualified individual that really maintains the mentality of being a servant, because that's what we are. That's one of the things that leads to in all of our work that we do with Safe Build is we still understand we're public servants. That's what we do, whether it's with the Safe Build or someplace else. That's who we are. That's what we do. So it gives a little different level for the services provided. I don't know what else to say about. I'm going to have to hire Kathy because that was a better. Well, we really try our best not to get into as much of the money with that because I don't. This isn't what I'm really that concerned about. I'm concerned about the individuals, the citizens, those that work, live, and play in these buildings. I go to sleep knowing that they're safe. And that's really my background. I've been a building official for 26 years.
We want that too, but we are obligated by our positions to watch the dollars also.
Absolutely. Completely understood.
Okay, Commissioner Hadley.
Just a couple of questions. You mentioned the tracking, and I understand tracking within your office, but what about tracking these to other affected offices, such as the tax assessors or whatever, because it's obvious we have a problem there. Just this year, we're dealing with homes that people are living in that got permits, but they haven't been taxed. So we obviously have a disconnect somewhere. So does whatever you have, that software, able to tie into other offices where it's shared? No, that's fine.
So as long as the software that you utilize, as long as it will accept a CSV format, then yes, we can upload it. It's just set up with
Do we know if ours does?
Good.
I think we can get that accomplished, no problem.
Okay.
Then it would call that.
Okay, and if we go with something like this, I think we've established that we won't have as many employees as we have now, but the employees who are still here, do you provide training for them as well?
If that's what the direction to go with that, if they want to come aboard, then we'll.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I just don't know. I mean, it's obviously we got some issues or some things we need to work on in our office, okay? So whether it's those employees are replaced, or can you provide training if we're not doing inspections the way we need to, or following up, or tracking it, or whatever the issue is? That's something that this provides to our employees as well, not just the ones you bring in.
With the permit counter, absolutely. To learn to use the software, absolutely. As far as providing the inspections, that would be an employee of Safe Build. If the individual, or if that was come along.
So our employee would not inspect anymore.
Okay.
Am I understanding that right?
That's what
They
that
would
is.
just be code enforcement.
That's what we would like.
Okay, all right, okay.
And we, in reality, would eliminate the 2 building inspection positions.
Okay, all right.
And then I really think at some point we could go to probably a part-time, 3-day-a-week code enforcement person.
Okay, all right.
And it helps save some of the cost.
So I have a question. So we're looking at the fact that you can take advantage of your software, which is up to date, which Kathy says helps her give out efficient reports, give you on pulse every day what's going on. You're going to have more qualified, not necessarily qualified, but more inspectors that you can use and utilize when the need is necessary. So the software, those who are using it, you'll train them on that.
Yes.
And any updates on that will be available to them. So that's going to be accessible. Theron, I want to verify again that you're saying that if this is something the board is considering, there is no need for us to have an inspector because they will provide all that service. And you provide that service for commercial as well as residential in the event that we do need that. Knowing the growth that has been going on thus far, one of my concerns, and I'll bring it to the attention of the board, is I did have someone to come to me and said that it took a while for them to get someone to inspect the phase of the house that they were having built, and they lost valuable time because the roofer didn't come at adequate time. Is there an issue as far as the time frame that we get things done, and will it cause problems if we don't get things done in a timely manner since we've got such amount of growth with builders and supposedly subdivision coming in the area? How would that affect you?
What that situation actually incurred has nothing to do with they got put off on an inspection. The current inspector wants to do a roof pattern on the felt that goes on the roof prior to the roofer actually putting the finished product on. So he was making them do a 2-step process, which is not necessary. Am I correct? That our particular inspector's reasoning for that. What would happen is this developer has a particular roofer who is out of town. They would come and do a felt inspection today, and then they would have to get their roofer to come back another day to actually do the roofing inspection to satisfy our current inspector.
Is that in compliance with what we have in your office?
That's what he was doing because that's what he did in the city of Coweta, our city of Newnan, Coweta, which is the only place that anyone was aware of that taking place.
So the liability that tends to go with these inspections no longer will fall on the county. if the county went with this type of operation. So the liability of that falls back on you all. Okay.
Thank you. I was just going to say, they also have told us if our person who is doing inspections now, if we wanted to, he is qualified to do plan reviews. That would be something that we keep in-house. He wants plan reviews. You bring your plans for your home in or your commercial building. All that has to be approved. You have to have the electrical approved, make sure you got your crosswalk sections. We won't go into detail here, but there's a lot of information they have to do to make sure that all of that is addressed on those plans. They will customize with us. If we want to keep that in-house, we can keep that in-house if we have that qualified person to do plan reviews. If not, they handle everything. So they're willing to work with us on pick and choose.
And if we had a huge commercial, industrial building come in, we would probably have to source that out. You guys can do plan reviews of industrial and all of the inspections of that as well. That would be beyond our capability right now.
We actually have an inspection on the key.
Okay, I see two hands, so.
Ms. Mary's been trying.
Ms. Mary, Commissioner.
Go ahead, Ms. Mary.
And then we'll go to Commissioner Ford. And if anyone else. We'll just,
But my question goes back to our current employees. If there was a need, if, let's just say that, would you have room to train them and make sure that they're certified to your standard that they could come on board with Safe Build?
If they so choose, yes, we would give them that opportunity.
Commissioner Ford.
Yeah, I guess my question revolves around this. When an inspector comes out, 9 times out of 10, that builder's going to comply immediately if he can. If you see a discrepancy, he's going to correct it. What if it gets to be a discrepancy that becomes a bone of contention? For example, and I think the inspectors would be, the builders would be acutely interested in that. Who would resolve that? Would it be the county? Would you make a recommendation, or who would have the final say as to what would be recognized in Meriwether County as being legit?
That's a fantastic question. So, and it differs from jurisdiction to jurisdiction.
Well, and I know it does, so that's where I'm saying, will you decide that it will be Meriwether County, or will that be your call?
So we'll work together, and ultimately that will be the commission's call, which is...
I knew you were coming back this way.
Well, I just have to be honest, so
Okay.
let me back up just a bit.
Right.
He's looking at me going, oh, what's he gonna do? So it all boils down to the police power that we have comes through the contract.
Right.
So in order for us to be able to provide that service, is it set up as the building official is the arbitrator with that? A lot of places that's where it happens. So it would rise to that level. And then if it wasn't taken care of there, then there would be another board, a board of appeals. It's the normal process that would go through, and then it would just be a formal meeting just like this to discuss exactly what that would happen, and then it would come out of it. What most jurisdictions try to do, and I would certainly counsel whether you use us or stay in-house or do somebody else, I would counsel you to make sure that you do that so it doesn't end up coming to this board. You don't want to politicize those types of issues that come up.
So what I'm hearing you say, you would be flexible enough that you would put it through the channels?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm looking for.
Checks and balances is our democracy, and that's what we do, and it's no different. Thank you for that question.
And a building official, the title and the job of a building official, which is what Paul is, if that inspector goes out and there is a discrepancy in what that inspector says needs to be done versus what the contractor feels like he's done is correct, he's the mediator. That's your first step right there, as the building official.
Right. But ultimately, whoever makes the final decision is probably going to come to your office.
That's true, but that is part of this contract as well, because that is what the job of a building official is. Step one, we do have a discrepancy.
So inside of that was, with him being, he's actually a certified building official, so he's got the legal and management training back in behind to know, is this something we can do? Do we have the police fire for both Amendment 4 and 14 if we apply to where we need to be? And then be able to give the documentation of what the code actually says and make that interpretation.
Well, I think that's what I was revolving around, only those things that are subject to interpretation.
I do want to recap and going back to Commissioner Gray's question. I had the opportunity to speak with you when you were here talking to Darren, and thank you for allowing me to sit in. So one of the things I heard you said is that with other counties, you were able to bring some of those people who were working for that county start working for you. Is that correct?
We have done that in places, yes.
So people have had an opportunity to come and work for you and do the same thing, but just come under your umbrella in reference to still doing what they do. So that is an option for anyone who is currently working. So if I'm recapping everything, just listening what I've heard, this program or any other program will provide the vehicles for inspection. You all cover the insurance and the maintenance, so that's something the county does not have to take on. We eliminate to some degree a person on a full-time basis that we won't have to cover the insurance or anything for that employee. And you all provide the training for that person. So whatever the training is that's needed on the state level or whatever the county may decide to implement, that training is there. And am I correct? That other training is software, anyone else in the county can get that training from you?
Those, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Those that would be utilizing the software will certainly take.
So the most important thing I want to also clarify is just the timely of getting inspections. And you're saying, and I think Kathy, you mentioned currently they have inspectors that are out of Grantville and Pike.
They do have, that's where they live, so they are very close to our properties here, and they do know Marion County pretty well.
Okay. And so the other thing is providing the software, tracking, update reports, and we'll have something that's up to date, current, and keep you reporting. I think Commissioner Hadley also asked how this software will help integrate with other software that we have in the county. And Skip, I think you said that is feasible?
Yes, ma'am, it should be. Without specifically talking to CSI, but I know we can get something written if it's not already done.
And how would that be very beneficial to your department and to the county as a whole, Kathy?
For me, well, it would help us instead of having to make extra copies of everything and hand delivering to the tax assessor's office whenever permits are issued on new or remodels. It will also give them information on business license, where in the past, with our current system, we have to physically hand it to them, which I'm going to toot the horn up here. Our offices have worked extremely well together because they get information from us in order to put things on the tax digest. Commissioner Hadley made a comment that there are homes out there that never had proper permitting inspections done. That's because there was not a good line of communication between the two. Right now, every time a permit is issued, a business license is issued, there's 3 copies issued on that, one for our records, one for the person applying for that, and the other copy is sent down there. So we have that good open line of communication, but it's hand delivery, it's not electronic. Our current system doesn't allow.
And with this possible software communication, it probably put something into a queue for them to let them know that there's something new out there for them to access and sign out of that queue. So it would be accountability through the software.
It also, I think I spoke to you guys about business license software as well. You have a package that, because Kathy's office handles that as well. And I think with if the commissioners go with your program, you would provide that to us at no cost.
That's correct. That's a modular for software.
Just a couple of things where you guys are looking at contracts. I read it recently. I talked about it, but I haven't got into the details. On the fee schedule, this shows a CPI increase, and it notes, I know this is a contract, notes beginning January 1, 2020. What I'd like to do, if the board decides to do that, is push that forward a year, since we're going to be in our first year, so we wouldn't have any CPI increases in the rates. The CPI may not go up, but it might, and I think you guys cap the CPI, it does go up.
Excuse me, Mr. Gabe. I'm not sure what that terminology means.
Oh,
Could you
that
clarify
is
for
the,
me, please?
oh, okay, yes, ma'am. The CPI is the, it's a customer product index.
Okay.
Yes, consumer price index. And it goes up, as things go up as a federal level, and they'll say, well, the CPI increased 1% this year. So it's a good way to really track contracts and fees. because, people will say, well, I want 5% a year or whatever. It's not a good way to do it in CPIS because it's a reflection of the economy. But what I wanted to ask that it be done is they push that out another year.
Okay.
Because I think this is a contract really for 2019. The other thing, just so you guys will know, there is a provision here that I'm sure, I know they've done a great job everywhere else that I've talked to, but if the county decided to go back to our old inspection department, say in a year, there is a provision where you can't turn and hire their employees who work it for us for a period of time without a penalty. So I just wanted you guys to know that, because we talked about training some of our staff and others. I do think the training could go just beyond building inspection, just on procedures and the way things are done and the computer. So I do think that even if we're not doing the building inspections per se, there's still a lot of learning opportunities there. Kathy and her staff just don't know the process and how it works.
Well, just the fact that everything is digital and computerized, and I understand and hear Kathy's level of frustration, things are still done so manually. And as we grow and as more people come to build, having a more efficient way to pull this information on a digital thing. Every industry now is utilizing technology to its fullest, and if we're going to be ahead of, or just right along with everyone else, there's a certain amount of things that we're going to have to bring to the table as well. Is there any other commissioner have any questions, comments, or any other concerns that they would like to address to?
I have one more, Madam Chair. All right, it says the maximum is 150,000. I don't know if you've seen what we typically do right now on a monthly basis. I mean, some months are definitely busy and others, but is there a more realistic figure, or do you think it would be close to that 150,000? I mean, I'm not holding you to an exact amount at all. I'm just wondering how close we are to that 150,000, or are we really half of that, or?
How many inspections do you think it would take to hit the 150,000?
That's what I'm trying to ask. Okay, thanks for clarifying it for me.
Roughly.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere
How many?
around 15,000.
In a year's time?
So to be completely transparent, we didn't have a lot of information going forward, so we just placed an arbitrary cap. That's not to say that when you enter this contract, you just signed off for 150,000. That's not
Not the case, okay.
okay.
Yeah.
So it might be 30,000, it might be 40,000, because we really don't have a really good track record.
Well, I think we all probably agree that if things continue to grow residentially like they have been, we're going to see this increase. But I really, just from reading everything and listening to what Kathy said and you said, at this point, I think we're probably a good bit below that 150,000.
Yeah.
That's my deal.
Okay.
So the best thing for the community, for the county would be so it explodes, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we have to have this conversation about, oh, wait a minute, let's revamp, let's look at this again. But it will, by that time, will give us enough time to have data behind to make some really good decisions about it.
Well, let's be honest with you, first of all, 150,000, I'm just like, that's just way too much money. But when you break it down like we're talking about here, this and that, I really don't think we're anywhere near that kind of amount at this point.
But I do have a question. If we're using the software and then based on the necessity for inspection, how much is the software annually for us to have use of?
So as long as we're here, that's a big goose egg. There's no charge. It helps us out tremendously as well, to be able to help with our own KPIs inside the company.
So if we have the software and you only do $30,000 worth of inspection for the county, you still have to.
Still have software. 20,000, you still got it. 150,000, it is. It really is set up to where it's a means where it's just a cap, to where you don't have to come back every month to say we got to go through the process to have it adopted again. It just gives you that flexibility to up to that 150,000. We're fine with it. I mean, it just depends on how many hours, and we're just gonna bill it monthly.
I have a question too. Listening to you and listening to Kathy, one of the reasons you didn't have more adequate data was because it wasn't available.
That's correct.
Because there was no reporting to actually show you what we have done to pull from. So whether it's this software or software that we buy separate from someone else, you need that data, period. Your department needs it, the tax assessor's office needs it, tax commission needs it. So at some point in time, we need to get it. So if you went out and bought this software from someone else, I'm not sure what that would cost, and bring on another inspector at a salary of someone who's very well trained and meet all the standards, and I'm not knowing, you're looking at 50, maybe 60,000 a year, which we're not at 48 to 54. So we're talking 2 plus insurance, plus vehicles, plus all of that.
Well over $150,000.
Well,
Okay. I mean, I just want to compare apples to apples, and seeing. The thing that I really want to make sure I understand is you're only charging us for the service that you're actually going to be doing. And just looking at what we're at right now, Kathy, where do you think, and I know you've been in that department for a short period of time and you're still learning, considering where we at and the percentage of growth we've had right now on residential, what will you say the percentage would be?
Instead of giving you a percentage, I will share this, to give you an idea. To date, we have issued over 250 building permits for the time we've been there beginning February. That's when we're actually tracking our own things. And then if you take those 250 building permits, guesstimate how many.
You'll have, actually, on average, you're gonna have on new builds, you're gonna have 10 to 12 inspections, but when you run into a house like Mr. Lester's house, you're gonna have over 150 because it's a $16 million house. So, I mean, the thing is you're looking at electrical permits are 1 to 2. So on average, if you add it up, we actually, I think, will be gaining by using Safe Build versus what we have now on the number of inspections done.
Okay.
Do you guys lease or sell the software on if the other services are not taken?
we did it some times, and that got very difficult to manage. And there were some other problems that came out with that. So we just utilize it as our proprietary software.
Mr. Bill.
Yes.
When you and I had talked one time, you were talking about some of the software that you had been thinking of. What were the numbers that you had looked at on any kind of software?
Anywhere from 20 to 50 grand up front, and then a yearly maintenance.
And that may or may not be something that would particularly help us in the building department with our particular needs.
That's correct.
One of the things that I think the counties and municipalities, I think, one of the reasons they've been successful is they kind of weathered the storm of the ups and downs of the economy. And I know at one time I worked in an area where we had 10 building inspectors, and that included the building official. And there were periods of time when it took every one of them to inspect. But then when the economy fell pretty hard in 2008, we had to find something for those guys to do. They were very nice about it. We transitioned into our public buildings department. They did repairs, they did other stuff. But they were still on our payroll. Had this company bid in, they would have weathered that storm, and we would have still continued like that. Another thing is, if you have inspections, and that number runs where, wow, it is closer to that 150, you're also going to have more permits. And then we are also going to be working on updating our fees.
That's what I want to mention. It's incumbent on us to update those fees to get them where they need to be.
Right.
Coincide with these guys coming in.
The building inspection fees, in a perfect world, would equal the cost of the inspection. That's the way it's supposed to be. Because it's a service that really should be taken care of outside the tax base.
Right.
It should be paid for with the fees that you assess on it. And sometimes that'll, is more, sometimes it's less, but you hope over a, 5-year period it balances out. So, I would say that and I don't think we're going to get anywhere near that number either, but if we do, we're going to be doing
It's because of
we're going to be doing a lot of mistakes, a lot of work.
And are we right now, Kathy, based on the fees that we have, and I know we're talking about looking at that, are we generating enough to even pay for the service that we're providing as of now?
Yes, ma'am. Now, I looked at some unaudited numbers for our fiscal year, and we have collected in excess of 150 for this past fiscal year. So that's without our correction on our fees. So it would be, I'm going to say, would be more than capable of meeting that if it went to the $150,000 cap. And also, the office that we're in should actually be generating enough money to cover this. And if we don't, then we need to really take a look at what's going on in the county. Because those fees now are not where they need to be, and we are generating enough to cover that $150,000 cap if we're going to do that.
Some of the things that we take fees on, how we pay for advertisements and we run it in the paper and everything, we're just barely breaking even. That doesn't include staff time and everything else that goes with it. So,
And that has already been shared with Mr. Bill. We've looked at that, so.
and we're looking to do that. That's going to be part of our code adoption. We'll be increasing all those fees, and we're going to place them outside of the ordinances where they can be updated on a regular basis by the board if they need be without having to go in and change the ordinances.
So I'm here with this new software. If we adopt this software, then once the fees are upgraded, then there will be an increase for the county, more income to come into the county because our fee has been upgraded.
To where they really should have been over the past years.
Madam Chair, I have one other comment. I'm just reading under the term and termination, and it says for 36 months. I just want to make sure I'm reading this right, even if it's a 3-year deal. If for any reason they're dissatisfied or we're dissatisfied upon 90 days written notice, you can terminate the contract. I just want to make sure I'm reading that right. Where, I mean,
Talk about that, but yes.
I just think it's important because when you're agreeing to something for 3 years.
No, I agree.
And if for some reason it doesn't work, you don't want to be stuck with something, and that we don't want to hold the taxpayers liable for something that's not really working. So I understand having that long term there, but I just want to make sure I'm reading it right. It can be terminated by either of us.
So if Paul shows up and he's got 2 heads, you go back to 90 days, I'm like,
Yeah.
no, that's what that's.
Written notice, I just want to clarify that.
If y'all do the contracts, I know you got 3 years, I know that helps you guys play it and stabilize, but do you have any contracts where you do on an annual basis review clauses? So that could be an option as well. If you got 90 days, it really doesn't.
And since it works on both ways, either way. But you do the annual, at the end of the year, you do an assessment to see where you're at. We'll have more accurate data, and then you can have them, so that next year, you can go back and look at that amount. And I'm asking, so where right now you just did a cap because you didn't have enough information to go by. So we'll have a more accurate, updated information.
So our normal reporting, and I know you've been so good to let us have a conversation, just to kind of wrap things up to answer to that. So we do a monthly report that gives you all the inspections that happened during the month, all the revenue that came through, that all of that comes through the software. And then the plan review, how many inspections were done, and the past fail rate. That's kind of the normal monthly that you would get. We do a quarterly report as well that we'll sit down with the county staff. This is where we're at, where we're missing, where we're hitting. So you got the quarterly report for a year, and then we do a yearly report as well. So the council will see exactly what we've done. We don't do anything in smoke and mirrors. Everything is out. It's very transparent. I want to make sure that you know exactly what we're doing because we do it well enough we want to do it. That's what we do.
know you've met a need that's been needed for municipalities as well as counties, so I want to thank you for the opportunity to do the presentation at this time. Thank you so much. Unless there are any other commissioners have any questions or comments? Thank you. Kathy, do you have any last remarks, or Darren?
No, ma'am, I just thank you all for the time to listen to this presentation. These guys have been excellent. They have come forward and answered questions we've had before bringing this to you. I think they'd be a great company to work with. They're very supportive. They have training there. They've got continuing help that is at no additional cost to what is in that contract. They can do it online through like our team viewer, very similar to what Skip's got set up now. So they don't even have to send someone down here. I just think it's going to be a win-win for the county and for our office, and I would recommend that you do look into this as being a provider for our inspections and business license, software and inspections.
It's blank. There you go.
We'll get one of those back.
That's fine. That's fine. And Sharon, do you have anything you want to add or share with the board?
Well, my only comment would be that, and I know this is, new information to a lot of people, and that's why we asked them. Look, we can talk about it all day, but I felt they would do a good job coming in and making their presentation. Like I say, they do have a good reputation. I've got a friend who manages an office in another county, and I asked her, how's everything going, and she says it's great. And so they're happy with the service there. I know this is something that's been struggling you guys, and you've got a lot to think about on it. I would only say that in the very near future, we really need to make some determination, because we either go in this direction, or we need to pursue another inspector position, because it's already kind of crazy in their office, and so at some point here in the very near future, I would ask that you guys make a decision on it, and either we move forward with it, or we say thanks, but not for right now. But we do need to go ahead and get the office inspections.
I do have a request from Kathy, if possible. I'd like to have some type of report on vehicle maintenance, vehicle mileage, fuel used during that in your office. Because I think we need to look at it exact across the board as to what that is. So at some point, I know you're extremely busy, I would like to have how much it costs for use and all that.
That will be for 2 vehicles, you'll be running 2 inspections.
You in reference to this?
Yeah.
Any other commissioners have any other comments?
No.
All right. At this time, I'd like to ask what is the desire of the board? Is there, no, I'm asking, what's the desire of the board? Do you want to, what do you want to do in reference to this? Do you want to go back and research it some more, or you have some more questions? I'm just asking, what is the desire?
Yeah, I think we do need a little more information, and
We need to compare and look at.
I just think there's some discussion to be possibly be held in executive session.
Right.
If I think we need to.
And Skip, also, if you could find some type of software that is comparable to something similar to what they do that will communicate between our offices, if we could possibly get some type of rough estimate of what it would cost, because we need to upgrade that, then I think we'll be able to look at everything across the board.
Would y'all like to set up a time? I know you have one more meeting, an evening meeting, this month. No, that's pretty busy. And you have your first meeting in December. Yeah, that'll be your last meeting probably for the year.
Well, in that case, I'd like a recommendation that we bring it back to the board on that first meeting in December.
That would be the 11th.
We would have time to have gotten all that information.
That's pretty much a month.
That's right. I think we can do
Good with that.
So we'll bring it back on the board on December the 11th at our 10 o'clock meeting.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock meeting, I'm sorry. And if there's any information we need prior to that from St. Bill, we should be able to reach out to you, Kathy, and you all be able to provide that information to her. Well, once again, I want to thank you for the opportunity to come and appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to the next item is the approval of the 2020 LeMay, and I think this is for Bill.
Kind of put this list together for your review. I think we've discussed a bit of this with each one of you. If y'all had any questions.
And for the big this year, the application for the county will be $780,000, some change. And our local match is going to be about $335 minimum. And that's a big at 115, I think the projected cost of this was about 1.4. I hope it come in a little lower than that. We'll note that we removed, we originally had contemplated doing Hill Haven under the LeMay program, but with the passage of the T-Splosh, we have pulled that back out and just dedicated the LeMay to resurface it as we have in the past. We'll use some of those funds, and hopefully some others to be able to get Hill Haven and Owens Road.
Yes, so they're T-Splosh.
Before you start, Bill, Mr. Gay, will Hill Haven be something that will be done right away? We're not going to put that on hold, right?
It's going to be one of our priority projects that we'll already start working on. In fact, by the time we get these dollars and we get everything going for this contract, we will be receiving our T-Splosh funds.
Okay, but my question is, how soon will we be able to do Hill Haven?
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and start getting plans together. And if you funded Hill Haven under this, or you funded Hill Haven under T-Splosh, the funding's going to be approximately at the same time. We'll go ahead and start to get everything together on that. The dollars on the T-Splosh should come in, April? I think it starts in April. So we'll have...
You'll have to collect a quarter before they start paying.
Right. Yes.
You'll start collecting January 1, but we won't get it till April.
We won't get it till April.
So you're telling me that it's going to be April before we can start on Hill Haven?
We can go ahead and put bids out on it. We want to do that.
That road needs to be done. I mean, we have waited such a long time, and I understood that, you was putting it on hold to after the country Christmas or whatever, but that road has been incompatible for a long time.
Yeah, it's a tough road, and it is passable, but it's one of those that needs repairs. But my point is, put it on this would not get it done any faster or as fast as having it on the
Because this won't let till April.
It will.
Either.
Design build.
Yeah.
Well, either way, you still got to put the specs out, unless you've already done the
It's a
specs.
process.
It's a
Bill
process.
mentioned about design build concept on that. That would save us having to spend on engineering. So you can take that and have contractors come back in and say, hey, here's what
Have some qualified firms come back in and they would look at it and make a proposal back to us.
And you're talking about New Haven?
Yeah, still have.
Hill Haven.
Hill Haven.
Okay.
That would be probably faster than us trying to do the design and putting all the specs together and letting it and everything.
Okay, I understand. We just need it done as soon as possible. Like I say, it's been quite a while since that road has been out, and you got trucks and ambulance and everything that's going through that road.
I agree. It is one of those roads that we could not do it out due to the depth. But that will be a quicker process than putting it in.
Well, the due date for the LeMay 2020 is what, December 1st? So by the time you submit this to GDOT and they get back, you won't get the funds, won't get it till the first of the year anyway. So then you can submit. So the T-Splosh projects, we're not talking about that today.
No, we're going to talk about our plan to develop T-Splosh projects, but we're not going to talk about that. And in reality, even, we turn this in, and I'd like to go ahead and get it in as soon as we practically can. And, they'll send a check, but the reality is you can't we had a contract ready to go to resurface these roads. You're not going to be able to do it till April.
Till the weather,
You got weather.
you gotta wait, the weather's gonna control some of that.
Yeah, you're talking spring anyway.
Yeah.
I have a question I know Commissioners McCoy and Threadgill and I had asked about putting some of our miles together to do one road that we all three share. it's on here, how much of the road is left after that?
Approximately 3.5 miles.
Okay,
so
I
we're
knew it
gonna
wasn't
be-
all of it, but, okay, 3.5 miles.
So we're talking from John Brown Road back to the city limits.
Okay.
And
So
what
let
we would,
me clarify, the roads that you're sharing, you still got 3 miles? See, we share the code road, but even if you do all of that, it's such a long road, we still got 3.5 miles to go. The only way we're ever gonna get it done is if we, share, I mean, if we all put hours in together So
to
it's-
even get it started.
Well, I guess one of my concerns is kind of like what we did in Lucasville, you know, you do part and then you come back. You know what I'm talking about as far as Lucasville, right? So that once that contract is done, can you have that 3.5 miles part of that T-Splodge so that it's consistently, you see where I'm going?
Yeah, I see.
You know, so that you won't, because if you go, you do it, then you come back.
That was our plan.
Yeah, you know,
we talked about that.
Okay,
What
I
we do
realize
is
that,
we'll pick up
okay.
that, once the contract goes out, we can pick up, through change order, adding that extra 3.5 miles there.
And do it through T-Splodge.
And do it through.
Okay.
You can do it through T-Splodge, we pay it with T-Splodge, but we can still do it in the same, contract.
Right.
Sure did.
It's just for the state purposes, you'll have 2 separate submissions.
We would have 2 separate pay sources from our standpoint, but the state really doesn't care. It does what you tell them to go do.
That's just such a long road, we will never get it done.
That's right.
You know, they could come in a lot lower than our estimate. You could have.
Okay.
Without adding anything to it.
Is there something that could be done on Primrose also? I know that we're only doing part of Primrose, and talking with you, you were saying the part of Primrose next to Roosevelt Highway is something that we cannot do on this particular program, but it's something that desperately needs to be done.
Yes, ma'am.
How much road's left there?
3 miles.
3 miles?
So, but
But, you
I
know,
would not recommend using this process for that section of the railway.
because it's so,
It needs to be
It
like
needs
Oak
more.
Street, where you're fixing yourself.
Okay.
Right. If you'll take a look at the Timber Ridge Road on this, it is one that, it's a relatively short road, but Bill recommended we do that FDR, full depth reclamation
Yeah, I saw
process on that. It drives the cost up, but it makes for a good road. And then that's an example there of what we were talking about, with catching the roads before they get
So
to
bad.
a point where they're so bad, because you're going to pay 3 times.
That's 3 times the
Yeah,
amount.
3
That's a
times.
good example, because we've had this discussion
We
and
have.
help citizens understand. You're doing the exact same length, it's costing you 3 times as
3
much to
times.
do.
Yeah.
well, and
Yes, I've tried to
This
explain that.
process will help you kind of get out there and slow that.
well, this is my district, and I did go, because I was not familiar with this road. There's right at 24 homes on this road, and 2 are being built. So when you first, on Timber Ridge,
And it's not even a quarter of a mile long.
it's not a quarter of a mile long, and when you first turn off 85, it is paved. For whatever reason, it never got paved the rest of the time on a regular basis, so it has turned back into, I'm not gonna say a complete dirt road, but practically back to a dirt
Somewhere
road.
over the time, when they had significant face failure under several sections.
Several sections
They
of
went
it.
back to gravel. and
Went back to gravel.
Never repaved or never repaired.
That's
And then
why
you
we
get in the
cannot
back.
do that. We cannot go, we'll never catch up.
No, and see, the front half is paved, well, it looks, it always paved at one time. The front half still appears to be paved, the back half appears to be paved, but the middle section looks like
You
it's
got the
gravel.
paved cul-de-sac in the back.
Creating new road standards to be able to up our quality of road construction would have prevented that from happening. So,
When I questioned about this particular road, we got a pretty significant complaint out there, and I was told it was a gravel road, so I went out and looked at it, and it was part gravel, but it's also asphalt in the back. So I think it had just got forgotten over the years that they thought it was a gravel road.
Oh, leading back, I don't know if you sent this to all the other commissioners, but you did give us a spreadsheet of all the different roads that are paved in the county, and you kind of graded them and gave a point.
It's not, I'm not complete, but I've given you what I had.
I think it would be good, you know, for everybody to see that, how you've done that. It would also be good to, maybe if you could break it down per district, but I just want to say to the board at some point in time, we do things by district. We may need to look at what are our worst roads and look at getting those done first versus just doing it by district. I mean, as much as I want certain roads done in my district, but to avoid having to have that additional cost to a road like Timberlake, we're spending out more money. We may want to look at which are our absolutely worst roads.
Well, I think at this point, we've gotten some done in every district, so people have seen the work there, and maybe it is time to look, 'cause there may be some that really need it. And like I said, and combine it, because like I said, we could never do this road if we didn't combine, so therefore, nothing else in District 5 is being done. It may be, it may be.
I know Mr. Buster, in actuality, and we talked about this, he was taking a look at, well, this is best for the road, but until we pave that 3.5-mile section, so what we've got is really outside his district, but we called him to be sure, and he said, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
So,
we appreciate it.
But we'll pick up that other two.
Y'all just wait till next year.
I'll give up some of mine.
I mean, just once again, once he present this to the county and do it in a presentation, you'll have an idea. And it may overlap more than we think. But once again, just knowing, because if we keep putting it off, the road's gonna cost us more in the long run. It's like pay now, you pay later. So if we can keep the cost down, then
That's what this program is really good at doing, slowing that down, and then you're gonna have to address these that are in face failure.
okay.
So you need to do some of the worst roads, you need to do some of the medium roads, so that you don't continually get bad roads.
And do we have the software in Public Works to keep us updated when the last time roads were worked on? I did reach out
As far as
to,
resurfacing,
right, me,
not that I know of, and that's one thing I'm trying to do on the spreadsheet is, as these LMIGs are taking place, I don't know if you noticed, I put LMIG 2019, 2018.
Right.
I need to go back there and do 17 and 16.
well, I've done that as well since I've been here, but once again, one of my concerns is if, when you step away, where you're not here, I'm not here, who's ever here 5 years from now, 10 years from now, should be able to pull up that data and to say, when was the last time this road was worked on? When was the last time it was resurfaced? Let's say it was resurfaced 4 years ago, and if the shape of it has gotten worse, it needs to be resurfaced again. If you're thinking the average road should last 7 to, what's the average time?
Probably 15 years.
15 years. Well, I mean, Alley Road is not even 10 years old, and it's already needing work done to it. So there needs to be something in place so we can always go back and see what was done, when it was done, so you'll have a comparison to say, why is this road all of a sudden having more issues? You see what I'm saying?
I do have a request. Can we stay on track of our outline here? Because I do have 11 o'clock conference call. Some of this can be done in a work session.
Yeah, in fact, this is going to be a work session topic.
I would try to keep track of that, so we'll have the next question.
I understand Commissioner Threadgill's desire, he has a meeting, but I do want to make a comment on that, is that a lot of times we don't get a chance to discuss this, a lot of times, so right now, it's important, because this is what, I can't speak for the other commissioners, but roads is what I get majority of my calls on. And everybody wants to be able to let the citizens know we are doing something to deal with that. Okay, unless someone else have any other questions for Bill, I appreciate what he brought to us, and hopefully we'll have the submitted report December.
Do we need to
We need to vote on it, yes. Okay, so,
I make a motion that we accept the project report as presented.
Second.
all right, there's been a motion to accept the LMIG 2020 as presented by Commissioner Hatley and second by Commissioner McCoy. Is there any other discussion? If not, I'd like to ask for a vote. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
We'll have that submitted this week, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all the work on that.
The next item is discussion of delinquent property tax on mobile homes.
Yes, ma'am. Asked Gene and David to be here today. I really wanted to just mention that, in addition to doing a great job this year in the preparation of the tax digest, they've also been working on other tasks that at times in the past have just gone neglected or undone. And they've gone out, and these guys, y'all come on up, guys, for just a second. We're going to make this quick, but I want to just run that to you. But they've gone out and identified the mobile homes in the county and in the cities that have delinquent taxes.
That's on all those pages.
It's on all of these pages. Now, I will say this, since they went out and they told the folks, look, you gotta pay this, they went to every one of them. And we've already had, when I first did this, we had 50 folks that come in. I think since then, about 25 more have come in. And with that, we've now collected, through their efforts, 75 homes that were not paid in taxes. Some of
What was
them
the total?
multiple years.
What was the total amount?
Don't know what the total amount is. I can get those figures for you guys, but it's going to be, pretty substantial.
We're talking 300 or more?
I don't know where you'll get that much. I don't know. But every dime you get is a dime we didn't have, and money that they should have paid. So I just want to say thank you guys for the job y'all done on that, and y'all may have a better idea of what some of the, I know, Dave, you told me one person could be paid
$2,300, something like 12 years back taxes, you had to catch up penalty and interest.
Right.
For all those years. In some cases, the delinquent cost for catching up delinquents is more valuable than mobile home was.
Yes, that's right.
But it's just gone on for so long.
Right.
I've got a quick question, and I know the meeting's been long, and we've got a lot to cover. The tax assessor's office job, and verify, I'm just trying to figure, yours to identify the property, what the property is worth, and get an assessment, and that the actual collection of this is done by the tax commissioner's office.
Right.
So once you all give that information, it goes over to the tax commissioner's office. What role do you play after that?
Well, on an annual basis, we have to check all the mobile homes and give her what we call a mobile home digest for collection. And then, as an extra, we took on the delinquencies that, this is a project to try to get them notified that they should be buying their decals, because some people are not gonna do it unless you tell them to. There's no consequences, they're just not gonna do it. So we let them know that there would be consequences in the future, and so therefore we helping the tax commissioner. In some counties, the tax commissioner actually has an agent, an enforcement agent, that goes out and makes fines, and that is a good incentive for people to buy their decals when they know they're gonna get fined, if they know somebody's gonna be checking up on them. So there just hasn't been anybody checking up on them in a good while, so now that they're becoming educated, I think you'll see the delinquency list getting smaller and smaller on an annual basis.
It already has by 75 or so. Well, one of the things that we're at a point now where you guys can appoint a authorized agent, like code enforcement or something, to go and issue a citation to ones that are not paid. And then, of course, in addition to the penalty and interest, they may have I don't know, an extra charges up there. I would like to ask that we please ask to be sure that the tax commissioner's office imposes all the fines and penalties that they can on this, because, if you don't pay your taxes and there's no consequence, then you're just making money off money that should have been paid to the
Well, you're
county.
taking away from all the others.
You are.
Plus, not to mention all the time that's taken to go back and try to catch this up.
That's
That
right.
could be spent on current.
Yeah, absolutely. This was a major undertaking, and these guys jumped in and did it. I appreciate that.
So I'm going to cut you off, there is a state code, which is State Code 48-5-493, which
Yeah.
says it's a misdemeanor if you don't have the current tag on your thing,
Right,
which is a minimum of 100 to a max of $300 fine.
right.
So I guess where I'm most confused with, I appreciate the work that you all have done, but really collecting and making sure that, I don't know if you call them a decaf, is on that trailer is the responsibility of the tax commission office. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
But it does say that the governing authority would appoint that agent. It does say that the governing authority would appoint an agent authorized to be able to issue those citations. So we need to do that aspect of it. But we do need help from the other office to be sure that all the penalties, if it's, I just don't want, to say, well, we'll just waive this and move on because, as y'all said, it took a lot of time and effort to get it done. And, so I think their job needs to be to collect all the dollars they can on behalf of the taxpayers.
So if they don't do it, then so that means you send out a code enforcer, someone to give them a citation.
Yes, ma'am.
So first thing is they have to pay it. If they don't pay it once they've been notified, then you
Right.
send a code enforcer out.
Yes.
They're given a citation, and then that citation, they have a time frame to pay it. If not, they go to court.
Right, absolutely. Well, I think they end up, if they get a citation, I think they may have to go to court anyway. We'll have to.
That's correct.
Get
You
with them.
you get a citation, you get something to magistrate court for a citation hearing. There's a penalty process, I think our code has, and I have to double check, but I think it's, up to 60 days in jail or $1,000 fine. You never see a jail sentence for a citation for an ordinance violation or a citation. They get fined. There's no real enforcement mechanism to make them pay that fine, so.
I would like to add, it's no different from a motor vehicle. They got to buy a decal too, and they've been out driving on the road for 12 years without a decal. You think they can get by without a decal?
That and some of the timber delinquencies that these guys have found, all of those things need to carry with it the penalties that we can impose, just because if
That's
you
where
don't,
we got
there's
to
no
have
consequence.
cooperation with everybody
I
else.
won't pay it till I get caught.
We
And,
need software that will make sure that every department's communicating with each other, because if some reason there should have been a flag.
Well, I think there was a flag. I think it was there. I think no one just ever took the effort to tackle the tax. Because, obviously, you guys were there, but y'all went after it. So this is a big issue we got standing out here. And like I said, there are efforts already. While this list is still pretty long, it's whittled down.
Do we have any idea what dollar amount we're looking at, just an estimate?
Well, it was,
How much have you collected thus far, just on
I
that?
don't know about the collection. I don't know, we could probably get Tiffany or Andre to generate a report on what was purchased since we started, which was around September, but, and that was way past the deadline.
Yeah, that's April, isn't it?
Yeah. So, people are coming in because they see us out there being seen and leaving notices on the door, but it's tens of thousands of dollars. It's well worth our effort. It pays for an agent to go out there, and the amount of fines would pay the salary of an agent to go out there, and plus it would be consequences for not doing it and have incentive for doing better next year for all the ones that has a history of not buying it.
I have a question. What is the mobile home taxes, delinquent taxes, in comparison to resident and building taxes that are delinquents? What is that comparison as to dollars amount of delinquent taxes that has not been paid by residents or buildings compared to the mobile home taxes? Which one outweighs the other?
Well, I'm sure.
And which one, the back?
Most of them mobile homes are, low values.
Right.
But the big advantage on real estate, if you don't pay your tax on real estate, you can sell those at a tax sale very easily. And most people won't bid on a mobile home.
Not very easily, David. Some of it won't sell.
So that's another reason, she winds up, if she tries to sell a mobile home, and it's on somebody else's property, nobody's gonna buy a $2,000 or $3,000 mobile home that they don't have a place to move it. And, so it's,
I guess my question is more or less, is more effort needed on collecting past due delinquent taxes on big dollars than it is on collecting dollars on small amount of mobile home dollars?
Well, our collection rate's pretty high on our property taxes, so it's 97%, 98%.
yeah.
So that's,
And you're going to eventually, some way, get those dollars through the tax sale or whatever. These are dollars that will, there's no way to kind of lead on it. The cost of the moving the mobile home is going to probably exceed the value of it in a lot of cases. So if you got to move it or whatever,
because mobile homes, isn't that a different line item on our revenues?
It is.
Yeah, so that's not even included in this finance, so this is an addition.
It's in a line item in your digest submission.
Yeah.
And generally, those depreciate.
That's right, huh?
It's in that report.
It's not in
Yes.
this report.
Yes, it's in that report.
Okay.
It's in this report, but I'm saying that when we look at what the revenues that we're getting though, you have one for timber, one for
Yes.
mobile homes, one for Avalor or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's different.
It's a personal property, mobile home, a lot like a car tag, until we got to the new system.
Because they also pay, if they own that property, they pay taxes on the property, which is due December 20th.
Right.
Then they have to pay the taxes on the modular home,
That's right.
manufactured home in April. So you have two different amounts there. But sometimes the person has the mobile home or manufactured home, may not own the property.
Right.
Some
And
of them
sometimes
don't.
the ones that do, they will list it as a homesteaded mobile home, but at that time, goes back on with real estate. But these are personal property mobile homes.
One last question. Okay, so when you go out and evaluate the mobile home, are you depreciating it by year? Let's say that you have a mobile home that was built in the 1990s and that person's still living at home. When does that tax go down to more or less to zero? Because the mobile home is not valued at anything really. So do you decrease the value of the taxes?
Ideally, we don't, that's another project that we have to take on is gathering information on makes, models, and year, and all the criteria that we need to use the NADA book. And we have the NADA in our computer, but we don't have models and names of very few mobile homes. So we have our individual customized pricing that, quite frankly, does not depreciate. It's pretty much
Right, and
the
each
same
year you are still just going across the board
Yeah.
with that same number, but you're not decreasing the value of that mobile home. Although it's not worth anything, you're still charging the same amount
We
of
do
tax each year.
We do it on a case-to-case basis. When the taxpayer that has a mobile home has the process to notify us or appeal the value if they think it's too high, then we'll look at it and try to gather enough information to get the NADA book value. If we can get it, if we can't get all that information, then we can judge ourselves if it's an average or less than average condition. We can make some adjustments on it as well. But we don't have, it's very difficult to do a total revaluation of the entire mobile home digest without input, a lot of input we need from taxpayers.
Yeah, because it's very different from maybe a mobile home from the 90s or whatever. But you look at this information that Kathy just gave us, this is in my district, and I actually been watching it go up. It's a manufactured home, it's $120,000.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right there as I go between Warm Springs and Manchester, and it is huge.
Well,
So that one's probably not going to depreciate
Right.
like,
No, but they will indeed, they do not retain their.
no, they don't. They will depreciate some over time, I would say, but they're not going to be like
Not as rapid.
No.
a mobile home.
And in reality, they never, as long as they're in use, they never really appreciate.
Yeah, I'm going to answer her question about that, but we have a residual value that there's always going to be a value as long as it's livable. And if it's livable, it's not going to drop down below 15 to 20% original value, something like that.
Okay. That's good to know. That is good.
Madam Chair, I had a question I was going to ask, probably accountable warning. I don't know, you would probably know more about this, and these guys would probably not be privy. That easy payment plan that the tax office has down there, we don't need that applied to mobile homes.
No, sir, we don't need that applied to anything.
We really don't need it applied, but this especially to me shouldn't be done.
No, I agree, 100%. We really don't need, the taxes are due, the taxes are due.
I agree.
And you shouldn't take pieces of payment and whatever.
You can make payments in advance. Harris County, or they used to, may not now, would offer payment plan, but you started in September. And you paid from September to December, so in December, everything was paid.
But Meriwether's doesn't work that way.
I understand.
It's still a logistical nightmare to even do that. It's just like, I know in other jurisdictions, I talked to a friend about this morning, what he does is, your taxes are due, your taxes are due. If you want to bring in a check for 50% of it, he's going to tell you, take that back home until you get the next 50% and bring it back in.
Most of our cities do that. They won't take it. If you don't pay the full amount,
That's right.
You're not paying.
I just wanted to add that we have had conversation with the sheriff's office about trying to locate a person to go out and issue these citations and try to collect those. And we'll follow up with the sheriff's office if we can't do that, but I think this will work with a part-time person to collect those.
So,
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
That's very informative information. Maybe not what we wanted to hear, but
Well, I think it gives us a little insight on some of, I mean, I didn't have any idea what an appreciation rate is. I didn't know it never goes below 15%.
usually, we used to keep a 30% residual rate on anything, if you were using machinery, equipment, whatever.
Yeah, I didn't know that. It's good to know.
And I appreciate the good job that these
Yes.
guys are.
thanks everybody for their patience. I know our meeting is getting long. I've got some people who want to make some public comments, so we'll try to keep it going. But unfortunately, some meetings are a little longer than others. We have a lot to cover. If we're doing the business of the county, it just takes time. The next item is the approval of the construction documents for the Maryville County Fire Station Phase 2.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chairman, Commissioners, this is an AIA document. It is listed kind of as a change order. In reality, the reason it's a change order is until they got the bids, because they're serving as our construction managers, we didn't have numbers to put in the contract. So what you see here is the cost that they have worked out based on bids for both of those stations, both Woodbury and Primrose.
Pebblebrook.
Pebblebrook, yeah. And you've got the details there. If there's any changes as we go along the way, we've been trying to hold that cost down any way we could. Those will become a change order. They'll come back to you guys at that point in time. But we hope that we will stay within this and we don't have any change orders. It's not going to balance out to where we are.
So we need to get a motion to adopt this.
Yes, ma'am, just do approve.
All right. So can I get a motion on the floor?
So moved, Madam Chairman.
All right, there's been a motion by Commissioner McCoy and Commissioner Hadley, seconded for the approval of the construction document for the fire station for phase 2. At this time, I'd like to ask for a vote. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. The next item is discussion of transportation plan for approval of T-Splosh.
Okay, yes, Madam Chairman, I will just be very quick on that. I just want to let you guys know that at your next work session, what we're going to be doing is coming and talking to you all about plans of how we're going to put together, the programs for the T-Splosh. I'd really like to hit the ground running with that, and in this area, that will include things like priority projects, like Hill Haven, et cetera. And so we'll be talking about that in a lot of detail at that point. I want to develop a criteria, like for example, for paving of dirt roads, because I know we're going to have everybody's going to want those paved, but there's some that it's realistically we can pave, and there's some that we probably can't. So I'd like to develop some criteria for your consideration on this, and just discuss how we put that program into place and get some ideas and feedback. So that's just really a
Don't forget about equipment as well.
equipment as well. Yes, we're going to need some equipment that's going to be vital for us to to be able to use it too.
Thank you. I'd like to say to the board, if you too have some, we depend a lot on there, and I appreciate all the hard work you and your staff do, but I also would say to the board, if there's some things that you know of, or particular areas that you too think we need to focus on, I would suggest during that work session that you bring it to the board and to the workshop as well. Our county is so big and so spread out, and knowing that, and we applaud the citizens for passing the T-Splosh.
Yes,
There were some counties, our next door neighbors, didn't get passed, so that's, we didn't pass.
Lost by 71%.
Yeah, so that speaks volume. It speaks volume in where we're at, but in putting this project together for the discussion at the work session, I think it should be one where we all have some really input on this, because once again, the citizen really heeded what we had to say, and they voted. I think we got ours by 71%,
5%.
65?
70.
Oh, it's 75, oh, I thought it was higher.
It's only.
It was more than Coweta as far as,
3 to 1, yeah.
right.
It was
It was 3 to 1, so.
74.92%.
So,
That's pretty close to 75.
so, make
I was just
sure,
writing that up, yeah,
I mean, that says a lot for
it does.
the citizens wanting to see this done, and I think it's going to be to our advantage to make sure we have something very well planned, and once we do that, then it's our responsibility to get it out there to them,
Right.
so they can
That's where you
honestly
need those
see.
signs that say your T-SPOS dollars at work, so people can really relate what those dollars are doing.
I was Bill Coughlin talking about some signage yesterday, started to mention too, let's go ahead and get some of those, but we will.
Just so
I'd like to
people will
see
know.
that. Yeah,
I mean,
they know what
what's-
we're doing.
And even some counties have on their website your T-Splosh projects.
Right.
So you'll know exactly where your T-Splosh is going, because we do so much, and a lot of times people don't realize all the different things we're doing. We've got to keep that in the minds and let everybody know that these dollars are going to be working for you and get some return. So,
I will
It's not the
say,
answer to everything, but it's certainly going to help us, is what I try to explain to people. If we don't pass it, we'll just not have another dollar more than we have right now to work on transportation. I mean, it's not going to solve everything,
no,
but
it'll
it's certainly...
be a start in the right direction. And I want to thank you guys for y'all's leadership and the cities and all for the job they did putting this forward. And appreciation to the citizens. When you can get 75% on approval of something, that's a pretty strong belief.
Same with our district.
But they're gonna be expecting that to happen.
Hey.
Already happened. You passed, so don't
It
you
is
think?
And make sure they know that money doesn't start coming in until April, though, because we got to collect it first.
well, and I think once again, and you're right, you know, we did a lot to get the word out, and the people listened to us, and they realized the need, so we do have to do a good job of rolling this out where people stay informed. And like Commissioner Hadley say, have those signs up, and even our splosh, you know, this is splosh dollars, you know, T-Splosh, and, you know, you see it when you go to other counties, and it makes you, you know,
Well, I'm also going to be going to GDOT and just talking with them very soon on, you know, how we can go about getting some additional support. And if, you know, I mean, I don't know how generous they'll be, but if they give us 25 cents on the dollar, that's still another $50,000 a year we can spend on it. So anyway, I'll
we
be
don't
doing
have the
that.
work to get done.
Right, absolutely. We are going to get the grant money. But anyway, I just wanted to give you guys an update on that and say thanks for y'all's leadership. Thanks to the citizens for that.
Madam Chair, just want to make a point clear there, Mr. Thurman. We are going to use this money as it comes in. There'll be no borrowing ahead.
That's right.
Precisely.
Use the money as it comes in. And in reality, I mean, you know, what I'd like to see us do is just keep these projects rolling. You know, just when one finishes up, we'll do another, and we'll just keep it going, you know, right on through.
Request to film, the next item on new business, request to film at the Meriwether County Courthouse is,
Yes, Chair, we did have a request to do some filming at the courthouse. It is a film that, you know, is, it's one of those things that, you know, would not be, you know, you know, put Meriwether County in a bad light. They would like to use the courthouse and the courtroom for 1.5 days on November the 23rd and November the 24th. The majority of the filming will take place inside the courtroom, but there will be a couple of shots outside. It's a PG-13 rated film, so I think that's you know, should not be you know, should not be an issue. They will provide indemnification and insurance of both liability and property damage, which I think is important. They're also going to hire off-duty Meriwether County Sheriff's deputies for security. I think they've already got that worked out. They're willing to pay us $500 a day for a total of $1,000 to use the courthouse. And this will be weekends, so there'll be no interruption of our service. And I also asked them, as I ended the conversation, if they would give Meriwether County location credits within the film itself. Because I think that's kind of important, you know, when people are watching it, they say, oh, that was filmed in Meriwether County.
I think we have that in our ordinance. ordinance, our film ordinance, that credit has to be given.
Okay. So we're, we're looking to do that, and I've got a short agreement that I had last night. I drafted up, and what I'll do is, if the board's okay with this, I'll go ahead and get Allison to finish that up for me, and we'll put it in form, and we'll get it signed, we'll collect the insurance and the dollars, and we'll move forward with that. And we're going to come back and develop a ordinance that's going to relate to rental of maybe all county facilities that we want to consider, including pricing and
They really need to do that, because, I mean, just in the last 3 or 4 weeks, Miss Mary, it's probably been about a month when I called you about that one at the courthouse, didn't it? It's been, but since that time, we've got a lot of activity there. Some of this same film is going to be in Luthersville, which they're dealing with Luthersville on, but they're also going to use the sheriff, they're working with the sheriff's office on some old vehicles. And then a Netflix series is looking at gay. Now, most of this is in the city limits, and I have talked with them, and I'd like to encourage our cities to get something on their books as far as an ordinance, because they need to collect something on that. Of course, if it's in the city limits, we won't have anything to do with that. But as they begin to look at our cities, they need to get something in return.
If the board would like, once we develop this, I'll just turn and send the cities a copy.
That would be great.
Because I think, when, there was some filming in Woodbury back, I don't know, when they had the bank robbery, I don't know that. But a lot of those businesses, that was not part of it. But the businesses lost so much customers. But you can put in the contract, they will pay the business for loss of business during filming, but they didn't put that in there. And so maybe we could help pass that information on to them, that they can request that, and then those businesses won't lose out, and those companies will pay for that.
But
gladly.
You have to have it in your ordinance.
That's
You may want
right.
to go back, the city of Hogansville just did, they've been doing a lot of filming. They just did one for that old hotel, and every business owner on that main street got paid $500 a day. So once again,
has that,
you've got to put it in your ordinance. So let's, I thought the ordinance that we initially had wrote covered those kinds of, it was just an ordinance.
It does in the county though. It doesn't affect the city limits. But in our ordinance, we didn't put anything for county buildings. And this was the first request I've had to use a county building, other than they did use the gym in Woodbury, but we got paid for that.
Yes, we did, but it was kind of
So if
outside.
we just have something in there where they want to use the courthouse, they want to use whatever.
Any county building.
I mean, it just helps with the utilities, it helps, and like I said, they got insurance to
You gotta
cover
have,
any
you gotta have
issues.
cleanup fees.
That's right.
We did this ordinance here.
Okay.
And it includes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 or 10 buildings that you can rent, or you can rent portions of buildings if you need to, like fairgrounds. So,
It's a big business, and
It is.
Georgia still has a big film industry. I mean, I know there was some concerns and threats to walk out, but Georgia is still booming with filming, and any little bit of it we can get help.
So we just need to get, I'm sorry, Ms. Commissioner Gray, so we just need to get a vote on this?
just to approve the use of the courthouse with conditions, and I'll get the contract together.
So right now, we're not charging?
No, we are charging $50,000 for that weekend.
For that weekend.
It's really for a day, because they're gonna do half a day, 2 days, but we'll get $1,000 for, plus they'll pay for security, plus their insurance.
Right.
And clean up, they'll pay for all of that.
Yeah, here's just an example. If you want to get buried in the courtroom of this historic courthouse, it's $1,100.
Well,
Anyway. Yeah, they will, that's.
I just want to make a comment, and I don't think this will be a distraction, but I know that we will be putting up trees. They won't be decorated, but the trees will go up that week prior to that.
And I told him that was gonna be going on.
I
I
just want to make sure
said,
that, it's understood that the trees will be there, but I don't think they'll be decorated.
I did tell him that y'all would be decorated. That's when I called and asked you about how quick y'all would decorate. I said there could be trees up, they could be decorated or not, but he said it would not be a problem.
Yeah, I think when they
with their
shoot
film.
outside, they're gonna come and try to get the street with a police car leaving, because supposedly I think someone has escaped or something, so.
So at this time, I'd like to get a motion on the floor that we go ahead and accept the request to use the Meriwether County Courthouse for
So moved.
Okay, so there's been a motion by Commissioner Hadley and second by Commissioner Gray. All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. The next item is the 2019 budget amendment for the state Georgia Tire Grant, and I think this is,
Yes,
Mr.
Madam
Bill, Finance.
Chair, if I may, I will briefly go over all of these, number 11 through number 18, I think, 19. And then, in my presentation, maybe we can just approve them all at one time.
Okay, sounds
Okay.
That's okay.
That's fine.
That's good.
And stop me if you got any questions. Budget amendment number 11 is the money we got from the state of Georgia on the tire grant, $11,641.99. Number 12 is the gas line facilities, the industrial park, $250,000. Number 13, state of Georgia juvenile court judge grant that we got from the state of Georgia, $32,025.01. Number 14 is the receipts we received this past fiscal year for this FEMA disaster relief grant. And I'm happy to say that we received the final payment in the month of October, a total of right at $900,000. It took us 3 years to get it all, but we finally got it. Amendment number 15 is the receipts of Lake Meriwether Trail grant. We still got about $10,000 outstanding to receive from them. Number 16 is just miscellaneous receipts for Cobra pipe sales in 2019, put in the budget. Number 17 is miscellaneous car sales at $5,046.45.
It's car, not tar.
I say tar.
No, it says tar.
It is tar sales.
Oh, you said tar, okay. Then I thought you said car, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, mine is
18 is
one.
the public health trauma grant that Keith and Alphonse got from the state of Georgia, $3,131. And number 19 is the Georgia EMA EMPG grant, $8,511 that we get from the state of Georgia each year. Any questions on any of those? Those are just revenue items that we received here for the year. Most of those are grants, with the exception.
So it's basically just a movement of funds, it's not a cost or
We're
anything.
just recognizing the revenues, this is all we're doing here. With that, I think we need a motion to approve budget amendment number 11. 19.
Can I get a motion on the floor?
Madam Chair, I move we approve the budget so read.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a motion by Commissioner McCoy, second by Commissioner Gray to accept the recommendation from our Finance Department from amendment item number 11 through 19. At this time, I'd like to ask for a vote. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
And in addition to selling tar, I think we did buy some cars.
Oh, the sheriff's office vehicles are here. We're still waiting on 3 of the trucks for public works and the buildings. And I'll even get you signed these issues.
Okay. And next item is report from the Finance Director.
We've got in front of you the bank balances, our general funds at 1.1 million. So we avoided utilizing that tax anticipation note for another year, which is great. The rest of the balances look okay. We'll mention now the fire district O&M. That's a very large balance, but about 700 of that is going to come back to the general fund to reimburse the payment. So that'll make the $1,179,000 the general fund is really about almost $2 million. That's all I have on those, unless you have any questions.
Just one quick question, Madam Chair. On your hotel motel, what kind of increase have we seen since the new hotel's been out there?
We don't get any tax revenues from that.
It's in the city limits.
It's in the city limits of Warm Spring. They get that. But I would say.
Oh, is that in the city limits?
The city limits goes, when they built, the the hotel and the assisted living place.
Okay.
They annexed that in right there to that dirt road, which is Collier Davis Road. That's where the city limits is now. Because they ran water up there and did the water tower.
All right.
That's
I
what they did.
will say that the tax from that hotel that goes to Warren Springs, they in turn give back
To the
Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, that's right. I heard Carolyn talking about that one day, and I thought it was coming through us, but it comes through the city of Warren Springs.
The last thing is just a property tax analysis for 2018, we're at 98.07. Still, that's a high number, that represents $123,000 outstanding. We've got 2019 tax data this month, we collected almost 10% of that.
That's good, but not even a big deal.
That's all I have, Madam Chairman.
Okay, thank you for your report. Anybody have any questions for Bill, our finance director? None. Our report from our county administrator?
Yes, I'll be very brief. We're still working on the codification ordinances. We've got our really final product in. I'll be going back through that just to check everything first, what we send in, make sure there's no typos. And we greatly reduced that from about 500 and some pages to about 350 monumental document to read. But there will be some changes that will be coming forward with that on subdivision and on our zoning aspect of it. We have, I told you guys already about our planned work session topics. I think Ms. Nikki Carter's going to come also and talk to y'all briefly about recreation. We had, I met with Planning Commission, since I met with you guys last time, Planning Commission, Water and Sewer, IDA, Lake Meriwether, and Airport Authority. I did presentations to Farm Bureau on the T-Splots, and yesterday I did just a presentation on what we've accomplished this year to our Rotary Club. And also on the work session, what I'd like to do is to talk to you guys about what we've accomplished this year. I pulled the 5-year work program, and I think y'all will be amazed at how much of that we've got done in 1 year. So I'm pretty proud of what we've done with that. So we'll bring that as well. And we're working on that detour for the country Christmas. We did get back, yesterday I called GDOT. We do have approval on our planned detour route, which took a lot of work, but we got it done with this big. So we got that going, so that's working out fine. And then the covered bridge event came about. I didn't get to go this year, but I did go down that morning and make sure everything was going like it needed to be. And CJ managed that with some of our crew, and they went very well. I appreciate that. But sure, that's all I really have at this point.
Thank you for your report. Report from the county commissioners, Commissioner Brett.
I don't have anything. I will talk about country Christmas and Thanksgiving.
I don't have anything at this time.
I have just a couple of things. Ms. Jane didn't mention that we did our litter survey. It's something that we have to do as a part of Keep Meriwether and Keep America Beautiful. And we went last week, and then they went again, I think, yesterday. I wasn't able to go on that one. But on the roads that we went on last week, y'all would just be so proud of the difference in the lack of litter on some of the roads. Now, there were still some places that looked bad, but some of the people that were on the survey were on the other one. I don't remember all the roads that we were on, but they were North Meriwether for the most part. There was just a tremendous amount of difference. And we also have some individuals up there and some businesses. The man that did the motor home place, the repair place, you know, we approved that for 54. They told us before we got there that he has an employee that he pays to go out and clean up the road already. Well, when we got up there, the man was out there. And it was as clean as it could be going on the highway, but down beside his business. So I think it's working. I mean, it's a lot of work. And I mean, when we have the cleanup days, I know it can be a mess sometimes with all the dumpsters and stuff, but I believe it's working, and we just saw, and I don't know what they saw yesterday, but I was glad to see all the improvements. I did attend the covered bridge dinner, and it was really nice. A lot of people put a lot of effort into that, and it was a beautiful night, and good food and entertainment, just a beautiful setting all the way around. This is really to the commissioners. I know we got that district meeting on the 21st, the evening, in Carroll County, 46. Is everybody going? Is there a plan for anybody to go from here up there?
I signed everybody up by the way, just in case.
Yeah,
I mean, I can meet you guys here if you would go, and we can try it together.
Yeah, I just didn't know, like I said, I just wanted to check. I mean, I'm hoping I'll be able to go. That's the night before the candlelight tour in Warm Springs, so provided we've got everything done, I'll be going to that, but I just wondered if everybody was still going. And the only other thing is Warm Springs Candlelight Tour does start on the 22nd, and it'll go weekends all the way up to Christmas. There'll be parades every Friday and Saturday night with Santa coming in. There will be a Christmas parade on that Saturday morning, which is the 23rd. The shops will be open till 10 p.m. that Friday and Saturday, and then 8 p.m. on the weekends following. It's just a big time in Warm Springs, and hope everybody will choose a time to come down and visit in Warm Springs. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner McCoy.
I've got about 3 items here I want to run across. The first one I'm going to pick up here is Two Rivers. I went yesterday in Tyrell's stead because I'm the alternate, and I had to ask a lot of questions about Two Rivers. Two Rivers is another one of these agencies that can siphon back funds into the county. They have quite a budget. I was impressed. And if we wanted to do anything with no till, they have the equipment they can let us use, which would be for public works, that sort of thing. Any kind of agreement we need to work out with the utilities to use the right-of-ways under those lines, anything we might want to do in the future with those, they're available to help us with that. They have a truck that provides paint striping. If we need them to come over and do any striping, roadwork type stuff, they'll be glad to do it. And the last thing I heard was stream contamination. They have a crew that'll come over and help us. In the past, that has been a problem with secondary stream contamination here in the county. Where it is now, I don't know, but I was right impressed with the meeting. They got everybody together, and it's quite a large area. I was surprised. It's how many counties are actually involved there. Now,
Paint stuff could we use that around the courthouse?
It was the first thing I thought about. I was like, that was the sweetest thing I heard. It's like, can we use them? Could
It's
that be
straight
done?
line striping, it'll be a little different, but,
Because there were times when we got some things from Two Rivers. I remember it being presented to us that, I don't know, some gravel along the road one time.
$12,000 worth of something, but.
Yeah, that's been a long time ago, but we haven't got anything
they have
lately.
quite a budget that they can call us if they need it.
and one of the things.
Maybe we need to utilize it more.
I looked at the striping, of course, at that time, the striping machine was broken, and it's one of those things they just couldn't get it done in a super timely manner. But one thing that Mr. Buster and I talked about, we very desperately need to resurface the bridge across, the dam across Lake Bearwood.
Exactly.
Because it's getting intrusion of water into the dam, and we don't want that. So we talked last night about trying to see if we could get some grant for that to cover.
Through them.
Through them to cover that, yeah.
That I pond, that stream.
The striping downtown, Bill Crawford and I are gonna lay that out and, get that striped as soon as GDOT gets through.
Yeah.
Whatever they're doing down there, so.
They getting close, it looks
They
like
are,
that.
looks like.
Yeah, and just in particular with the dam, before we leave it, we're under state and federal mandates to keep those things inspected and looked after. So even any vegetation out there has to be curtailed if we possibly can.
Commissioner McCoy, could DNR also help with that?
Yeah, as far as if they we're gonna talk with all of them and just see who can help us. Yeah. DNR's down there quite a bit with us. You know, they come in and they do the fish populations and they restock for us. And I don't know if y'all know it. I'm fixing to go to, I'll just jump to Lake Meriwether. There was a 10-pound bass caught out of there about 4 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
It was a beautiful fish. was nice. The proceeds in October, we took in a little over $2,200 just in our fishing, our RV parking, and our tent camping, which I thought was great down there. I was pleased to listen to Mr. Beal's report here on the grant, because we talked last night. For some reason, there on the state level, there has been so much turnover and change around. I don't think we really know who we're dealing with from day to day. But they're under new management now, and they've issued, I think up until April, we have this window they've given us free. We didn't ask for this. They just reached out and gave this to us. So we may can spend a few more extra dollars out there and get a few things accomplished, and we're still waiting for them to approve our ADA overlook that we did.
Right, yeah, I sent I sent Carolyn back, sent it to them, identifying the ADA overlook and the ADA parking. And we'll get with Bill and see what we have left, and if there's other things we can do. Yeah, there's little things we can do, like fire rings.
It's really looking nice.
It is, it looks really good.
They actually asked me over at Two Rivers if they could come over, and I found out last night that Danny has been promoting Lake Meriwether. They want to actually come over here, I guess as the weather breaks, and do some training, and we've got all the facilities they need. We've got the pavilion down there, we certainly have the bathrooms there available, so whatever they need for their training, and we're probably going to be very minimal to that. Now, the other thing I was going to mention to you was the airport authority. We are moving with great strides there. The work that's going on down there, the so-called safety completing, getting all the obstacles out of the way, will be completed by December, hopefully by the second week, maybe even by the first week. Phil, we asked him, since the board voted on the fuel depot, he's got the plans, everything will be coming to us. We're probably going to see that. We may even have it in our hands as early as December. But by the first meeting in January, the airport authority want to come to us. They want to actually build another hangar, and they're going to be the people, they're going to finance it themselves. It won't be from the county. The monies they're taking in, they want to finance an additional hangar, which they think they can. And the transition of the new FBO, I think that's working. For those of you that don't have AV terms, it's the fixed-based operator that's coming in out there. He will be taking over, doing more maintenance, and there's going to be a transition from Columbus to Warm Springs, so you're going to see more and more of that. And there'll be additional maintenance being done out there. He'll be bringing some of the fleet that he tends down in Columbus up to us, so there'll be some more things going on there that I think will be great. Did I get everything with the airport authority there? Good heavens, if you know somebody that wants an antebellum home, let them know. We got to do something with that thing.
We definitely do. I looked at it last night.
Yeah. But that's all I had, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Report from our county attorney.
No report per se, but I think we do have need for litigation personnel executive session.
You said litigation personnel.
Correct.
All right, thank you. All right, this is the time for our public comment, and I want to thank those who have stayed. It has been a lengthy meeting, and unfortunately there are times when our meetings are very long. But this is your opportunity to come up and address the board. So we have Ms. Dorothy Moss and Billy Bohannon.
Yes.
And you are 583 Meriwether Street?
No, 538.
Sorry,
Meriwether Street.
It's 538?
Yes. Grantville.
538
What's your name?
Meriwether Street in Grantville. It's Dorothy Moss,
I'm Dorothy.
and then we've got a Mr. Billy Bohannon.
Yes.
All right. Once again, thank you all for your patience and waiting. Hopefully you learned a lot about
Oh, absolutely.
how we run Meriwether County. It's not that easy, is it?
Not at all.
Good place
to go fish.
You about 10 bass fish, 10-pound bass.
Good morning, Madam Chairman and Board of Commissioners. The property of concern is 538 Meriwether Street, Grantville, located in the northwest corner of Meriwether County. We have two large trees that were identified as property risk during the property insurance renewal for the home. Three things. One, the insurance company company stated that the home was endangered. 2, they indicated there was root destruction due to the driveway due to the roots of the 2 large trees. And the road, just FYI to the municipality, the road was being destroyed because of the roots as well. But when we went to get an estimate, 2 trees are located on municipal property. And the tree removal estimates we received over 2 years ago were approximately like $1,800 per tree, which totaled about $3,600 for the entire removal. We have pictures. And we have pictures. Thank you for your time and consideration.
So this is on county property
Yes.
or city of Grant?
That part of the street, there's an agreement, I think, between Meriwether County and Coweta County concerning certain maintenance issues. We're not sure. I know that we had visits by Mr. Theron, Gabe, concerning, helped us out big time with the proximity to the fire station with the insurance company, but
That worked for you guys?
it absolutely did, yes. And now it's a tree, and the tree is leaning, so I guess the insurance company's probably looking for any reason not to insure. First, it was the distance from the fire station. We had to get that approved, certified.
Yeah, that didn't make, I mean, they live, but I know it was a mutual aid station, but we had a mutual aid in Granville, we had a mutual aid with us in like Lone Oak, so I think we got y'all a letter, and that helped out.
Absolutely, big time. Drastically, you wouldn't believe.
That's what it was designed for.
Yeah, more than half as far as insurance.
Dropped from 3-something down to 9-something.
Really?
Good deal.
Wow.
Glad to hear
But
that.
now they're looking at the trees, and they're right, they're dead, and the limbs are starting to break on it, but a tree service won't touch it because we don't own the property. It's just weird. You see where it's located, right there.
So if it's on the right of way, it's gonna be our responsibility.
It's right on the edge of the right of way, but it's also, there are power lines. So like our crews, we could probably physically cut, I've been out and looked at it a couple times and actually called to see if we could get some of the utility companies to come out. Technically, the power supplier needs to come and probably cut it, because if it falls, it's gonna take the power out all around, but I think they've not been willing to do that to this point.
Do you know which power company service that? Is it Diverse or Georgia
Do
Power?
y'all get your power from
I get it
the
from Grant.
City of Grant?
City of Grant.
The City of Grant?
I called them and they said, oh, City of Grant. You know, that doesn't tell me anything.
The City of Grant will provide you electricity?
And water.
Some of the municipalities do that. They will actually buy from a contractor, turn around and sell those subsidies. Yeah.
As I know the City of East Point does that too. Okay.
What, I mean,
So what are you needing from the county, other than you need a tree down?
That's it. Yeah, because we can't contract anyone to cut it down because of where it's located, and yet the insurance company is telling us that it's a threat to the property and the fact that it's leaning and dead branches are falling off of it, so. And the driveway.
It is Meriwether County.
It is destroyed my driveway.
Yeah,
pushes it up. What I might suggest is that, and I'll do this right away, because I've been out and looked at it. We can't cut it. I mean, we can't. And no one's going to be able to cut it without the utility companies working in conjunction with it. What I could do is go visit with the city manager of Granville to see if they would work in conjunction with us, because they've got a stake in it as well, to see what we could do about removing those trees. And I could go and visit them.
When is your insurance renewal?
Well, it's contingent upon,
So
they've
that-
already renewed it, but they're stating that, they
Okay,
give
so
us a
something we
time
need to
frame
do
get
quickly
resolved.
then. We need to,
Yeah, and I
time's
know
gonna be of
that,
essence.
when we did get the estimates from like Monster Tree years ago, they indicated it would have to be taken down in pieces, but they just can't do a contract with us because it's not on our property.
Yeah, it's a difficult, and they're huge trees. I mean, I'm not sure if they were, well, if they were freestanding, we could, but I'm not sure we could chip them back anyway without just dropping straight down.
Considering how old they are in the roots, the biggest challenge, I think, is getting the utility companies, because either way, you still have to contact them,
There's no way
right?
anybody can cut it without the
utility.
Talk about the
They're going to
utility.
have to remove
They'll
lines.
They have to remove lines.
Move the ledge, or kill the ledge,
Kill
or
lines.
come out and get it cut themselves.
So if you can talk with Grantville then and see if we can work out something pretty quickly so we can.
And let me get you, I'm gonna just pass my notebook out here, or if you'll put it on the, form that Beverly has here, just telephone number, and I know I've been out to see you guys.
Send in a message